It's time for Twig This Week at Google. Stacey Higginbotham's here, Jeff Jarvis, Ant Pruitt. The Google earnings are out. Wow, what a great quarter for Google. Apple, too. Sundar Pichai talks about the tragedy in India. Dogecoin surges after tweets from Elon Musk and Mark Cuban and what really happened at Basecamp. All of that and more coming up next on Twig.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 609, recorded Wednesday, April 28th, 2021. Put garlic on my shopping list. This Week in Google is brought to you by Audible. Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment. Delve into your next title on Audible with Audible Plus. New members can try Audible Plus for 30 days. Download the Audible app and get started with a free trial at audible.com/twig or text twig to 500-500. And by the Enterprise Tech 30. The Enterprise Tech 30 is a definitive list of the 30 most promising B2B startups, as determined by over 100 venture capitalists and 20 corporate development teams. Visit enterprisetech30.com to see 2021's winners. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, a show where we talk about Google sometimes. A lot of times about Facebook and Twitter and all sorts of stuff. Partly because we have many interests. Ant Pruitt is here. He is our photography guru. Ant is the father of hardheads
yes, sir.
At Ant Pruitt. And his show is twit.tv/hands-on-photography, twit.tv/hop. Hello, Anthony.
Hello, Mr. Laporte.
Actually, Ant's your middle name, so I shouldn't call you Anthony. I should call you Ant, right?
You can call me Ant. It's a lot easier to say.
I like Ant. Ant's a good name, and it's unique. My son is Henry. He calls himself Hank. Because same thing. It's like, boom, says it.
When I first met him, I called him Hank, and then I felt bad because I didn't really
he likes it.
Make sure it was approved.
It's
Hank
approved.
But he was cool with it.
Or you can call him sodium. What is it? Sodium deficiency.
I can't think of that name on TikTok, but I do like that I keep getting fed his TikTok.
Good.
Yeah. Unlike the other crap
he's hot on TikTok these days.
But it's nice to see him
it's
pop up.
Salt_Hank if you want to subscribe. Jeff Jarvis is here. Wait a minute. Oh, let me pick up. I threw away the title. The Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Hello, Mr. Professor.
Hello. Happy Ed Balls Day.
Dare I ask?
You lost me at Ed Balls.
10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago on this date,
yes,
the British politician Ed Balls went on Twitter and somebody showed him how to use it. And he obviously was searching for his name. So Ed Balls tweeted Ed Balls. And I'm juvenile enough still. I still find that funny, as does the entirety of the United Kingdom. So there's stories all over media about how it's the 10th anniversary of Ed Balls Day.
Poor Ed Balls. He is currently the shadow chancellor of the Exchequer. He looks like the kind of guy who would tweet Ed Balls. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was. Yeah.
So if you go down to line 61, you'll find the link where you see the original tweet.
Oh, well, let's
Ed
go
Balls
back.
Tweets.
You know, if he
Ed
were
Balls.
smart, he would sell that as an NFT.
He doesn't sound that tech savvy.
Yeah, maybe not.
Clearly not.
You know, it's even better because the picture, his avatar on this is of a little child. That makes it really even more piquant, if you will.
It does. And it's juvenile to laugh. I fully admit it. I'm being 10 years old, but I find it very funny.
Apparently, this will forever be known as Ed Balls Day.
It is.
You know,
It's Ed Balls Day. So happy Ed Balls Day, everybody.
500 years from now, when people celebrate Ed Balls Day and they go, what is the origin of this day? No one knows.
I hope
It's
so.
lost in the mystery of time.
You're going to be like, what's a Twitter?
And she's right now regretting
We
her.
serve meatballs on this day.
She's really regretting her appearance on
Scotch
this
eggs
show.
and-
Stacey Higginbotham is here from StaceyOnIoT.com at GigaStacey on the Twitter. She's also the host of the IoT Show with Kevin Toffel. Hello, Stacey.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. So, Google's quarterly results are out. And wow. Another, earlier today we did the Microsoft quarterly results. Later today we'll get Apple's quarterly results. Google's earnings smash sales records, particularly in the digital ad market. And this might maybe explain a little bit about Flock and Google's abandonment of the third-party tracker. They don't really need it. They're doing just fine with first-party ads. Thank you very much. First quarter sales revenue $55.3 billion. That's up year over year 34%.
That is so bonkers. And they're like, it's an increase from the diminishment of the pandemic. But if you actually look historically, this is far and away just crazy. 10 years ago, we're looking at sub 10 billion in Q1 revenue. This is quarterly. It's bonkers. Okay.
Quarterly. 31 billion alone, 32 billion alone from search, Gmail, and Maps. YouTube, 6 billion. That's almost a 50% increase. A lot of people staying home and watching YouTube, right? Now, the profit.
And they laughed when they bought YouTube.
I know. Boy, they got their money's worth. Profit. Remember, this is a 3-month period. $18 billion. It's got to be nice to make like $1.5 billion a week.
Well, and they also, think about this. They've been shutting off all of these crazy unprofitable businesses for the last 2 years. So if you think about it, they're reaping what they
That's what you do, If you're a smart business, you get rid of the dead wood.
Yes and no. You have to have the other bets to help offset the eventual decline of search.
Right. But
it's going to happen.
Credit to Ruth Porat, a very good CFO, because the judgment you have to make is this losing money but going to grow, or is this losing money forever? And she apparently has done the right thing and cut the stuff that's never going to make money and has kept the stuff that presumably will make money down the road. This is a profit increase of 162% from last year. Now, remember, last year, as you said, Stacey, wasn't great because the COVID had already hit. But still, this is pretty good. Google will dedicate $50 billion, more than it made, actually, for repurchasing of shares. This is very good for the stock price.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, though. I think that's because there's another story somewhere in the rundown about how, Google and Facebook, all these companies grew so big by making acquisitions, right? And now with the antitrust breath down their back, they're instead of having the cash that they have go toward what I would argue are productive things, they're doing the financial game and they're buying back shares, which helps no one but the shareholders, and doesn't invest in the future of the internet and doesn't buy other companies and give others the benefit of that. And this is, to me, a side effect of the antitrust mood that some folks are in right now. And I think it's actually too bad. I say that as a shareholder.
No, Jeff. I think there is a legitimate case to be made that you're like, hey, you should invest in things. But Google's cash on hand exceeds $100 billion. So when you have that much money sitting around, that is a function of you are accruing. I know in Wall Street terms, there's no such thing as too much cash or too high of profits. But when you have that much cash sitting around, you do have to do something with it. And yes, you could say, I can't buy any more companies. But, I see that they can't buy any more company, or that they might be hesitant to buy other companies. But I also see that you can't deploy $100 billion buying small things. You have to buy big things. And I would say the ability to amass that much capital over a relatively short amount of time is indicative of the fact that they're kind of there's no competition for them.
This is a problem for Apple as well. There is a benefit. There is a benefit to stock repurchase. There are a couple of benefits. Of course, it does increase the value of the stock because you're decreasing the number of shares. But remember that the stock is one of the ways companies like Google attract the best employees. So in improving the stock market, the stock value, the stock price helps you acquire better employees. So there is a direct benefit to the company. And I think you're right, Stacey. It's a problem for any company that rakes in so much cash. They got to do something with it. You can do acquisitions, but acquisitions are more than the cost of an acquisition is more than the money you spend. You've then got to assimilate them. You've got to use it properly. There are many, many cases of companies throwing away money on acquisitions. Microsoft threw away money on Nokia and Overture and took huge write-offs. Yeah. Google's probably done the same. The other thing you could spend money on, Jeff says, is R&D. Here's the graph of Google's R&D spend. And R&D spend has been going up and up and up. It was $27.5 billion in 2020. I don't know what it will be this year. But there's a very steady increase in R&D spending. So it's not like they're cutting back on R&D.
They could pay their taxes.
Oh, but all right.
Yeah, but that's up to government. That you're right.
They don't have to.
That's up to government to do. That's not up to Google to do.
They're not going to pay more than they're required to.
Right. No, I know. No. I'm just pointing out that, if we tax them appropriately and shut off various loopholes, we might be able to, instead of Google saying, "Oh, I'm going to invest in my R&D to bring like fiber to the home or invest in wireless networks or whatever." We could actually do that maybe on a federal level.
I'm with you. We should tax the rich. Damn them.
That graph you showed, I figured that would be the draw to get some of the best employees into the company. Just part how much money is being invested into the company.
You want to work for a company that's on the move, but
I figure maybe
Van, I'm going to hire you. And I say, come to work for this great company because it's wonderful. And oh, by the way, we'd like to give you stock so that you can participate in our success. That does add some value to it, right?
I think that would add value to someone that's in a leadership role. I don't think it's for the people that are under, like in the subordinate levels. They're
engineers get stocks
to build something.
They get stock and they get rich on it.
Yeah.
I'm saying they get the stock, but I'm thinking the draw would be more along the lines of come join this team and build something big.
That's because you're not motivated by money.
Maybe that's
that's nice, Ant.
I have my moments. Don't get me wrong. I like cash too, but
they're competing against Microsoft, Facebook, Apple, and some small startups. And I'm sure that if you're coming out of college, you got great skills. You are the top 1% of programmers, say, or engineers. You have your choice of any company. You might be saying, well, I should work for a startup because they're going to change the world because they're going to, they figured out how to do blood tests with just a drop of blood. Or I want to work for, I think if you're looking at a company like Google, there's a risk for Google that, Google, they've done it all. They've been there. What could I do to make a difference at a behemoth like Google?
Right.
So it may be hard for them to acquire people on the market that you describe who are looking for the great company to work for. It might be a lot easier for them to attract people by saying, oh, and by the way, our stock is worth $700 a share and you're going to get 100,000 of them. Welcome.
Okay. Yeah. Now you're talking.
So I've been told, I have no idea. No one's ever offered me a job from any of these companies, but I have been told that is one of the reasons companies want to keep their stock price high because they use it as an incentive to bring people in and probably to keep good.
But even without the stock repurchase, Google stock was headed. Well, actually, it was a little stagnated. You're right. Amazon's was going up. Google's was lost a little steam.
This is why I don't like to talk about stock value so much when we talk about tech in our context, because it isn't always a reflection of how well a company's doing or how well it's innovating.
Agree.
In Apple's case, their stock market value is through the roof, but a lot of that's because they rebuy a lot of.
They bought it back, right?
Yeah. So
they didn't do for a long time.
They didn't. And their stock has gone up a lot more since. And so that's a way you can kind of, but that doesn't tell us anything about the company, just that they're willing to reinvest profits.
My view is as you know, the internet is yet young. And so more investment in internet development of new things makes me happy. The problem is Google could go into an entirely new field, but they'd get smashed even if they didn't buy it, they just went into it. They'd be accused of steamrolling somebody else now. And so I wonder whether that money could be invested in entirely new lines of business that would productive, but won't be now. That's my point. Somebody else will.
That's that Washington Post story that you're talking about, which I thought was biting the hand that feeds it. But still, because Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post.
Well, they have to do that every now and then to prove that they're not, under his thumb. Yeah,
it was honestly an argument to break up the big tech companies. I mean, remember this is in Washington D.C. and Congress probably reads this. How big tech got so big, hundreds of acquisitions. And the thing that's the most interesting about this is that the acquisitions are clearly designed to do a couple of things. To either and this, by the way, is David Cicilline from Rhode Island, who's the chair of the antitrust committee. He said, these monopolies have exploited the weaknesses of the existing law and lax enforcement to maintain and expand their market dominance by buying up or burying those they perceive as competitive threats. And here's the biting the hands that feeds you part of it. Here's Amazon. So on the left, it's kind of hard to grok this right off the bat. Acquisitions in the original business, which is selling books. On the right, acquisitions in sectors which was
never really the original business. That's a
well, let's say e-commerce. Yeah. Well, Amazon knew that, but watch, because initially a lot of e-commerce purchases, and then here and there purchase in new sectors. But as time goes by, we're at 2007. Suddenly, the e-commerce purchases slow way down, and by 2012, most of the acquisitions are on the right-hand side. They're in new areas: publishing, Twitch, social, video games, IoT, video, esports. They're suddenly buying robotics. And so that's and no, you might just say, well, that's a company that's growing, right? Yeah. And entering new fields. But if they're using their monopoly on the left side to enter new sectors on the right, that's when the antitrust.
Well, how did they do that? How do they use a monopoly in e-commerce to go into Twitch? They had money
for Amazon,
how was the monopoly?
Amazon? Wait, are you talking about Amazon or Google?
Explain how Amazon. This is Amazon. Explain how Amazon uses its monopoly power in one market to enter new markets. Sure. Stacey.
So Amazon, actually, the Wall Street Journal did a lovely article citing examples like 2 weeks ago. But for example, they have the ability to sell lots of things. So when they started talking about Ecobee on the smart home side, Ecobee is the maker of a smart, thermostat. Amazon actually invested in them too. They told Ecobee that they wanted data from the smart home that Ecobee didn't want to give them, even if it wasn't tied to Madame A. And they were like, no. And then Amazon's like, give us this data or we won't list you for sale on our platform.
Oh, that's a really good example.
Right. That's bad. But in the example we just came through, how did the power on the left lead to Twitch?
It doesn't every single time. But you could say that if I am on Twitch, people's big revenue generator is tips and placement of devices. Maybe Amazon forbids a creator from going on Twitch and sending things to another website, for example, or using affiliate links someplace else.
Well, in the simplest form, you've built up a cash haul that you can use to acquire people.
Yeah, it's cash. Yeah, yes, obviously. Right.
Or you just do a loss leader on acquiring people and content.
Yeah, you can afford to lose
network effects.
A really good example is is diapers.com. This is all in e-commerce, but it's exactly how antitrust works, which is, they undercut, diapers.com until it wasn't profitable anymore, and then they bought it. And it's how you kill competitors. So that's clearly, monopolistic behavior, and it's illegal under US law. But if it's not prosecuted, and that's what Cicilline is saying, look, as we didn't enforce it, so they were able to do this kind of thing. Twitch, it might be a little bit harder to explain, except that maybe Amazon said, gaming is the next, they bought other esports as well. Gaming is going to be a big category soon. We ought to expand into that category. And maybe they didn't use their monopoly to do that. But there are plenty of examples of them using their monopoly.
Well, they can always do it later. I mean, they don't have to. You can buy something and be like, well, we're not sure how this is going to work out, but we're going to keep an eye on it.
Right. Anyway, that's, we'll see. The EU is expected to announce an investigation of Apple's monopoly in its app store this week. Congress is clearly poised to do something. Even the White House, as we talked about before, they hired Tim Wu and a number of other people who are very much about breaking up big tech. This is on the horizon,
and who are dangerous to free speech. But
we could talk about Section 230. That's another area.
My blood pressure. You just want my blood pressure. My allergies.
Yeah. Well, let's not get there. Let's not get there yet. We'll save your blood pressure for later.
Let's finish the financials.
Yes. So Google had a good quarter. Cloud. Now let's talk about cloud, because I think Stacy probably has some stuff to say about that. Was very big. $4 billion in the first quarter. That's another 46% growth from the year prior. Man. Microsoft had a similar, in fact, maybe even larger growth in its cloud sector. Huge growth in the cloud sector. That's as much a change in the way things work these days as anything else? And COVID, right?
Maybe. If I'm looking at, Google's cloud earnings are nothing compared. Well, not nothing. They're what?
Minuscule.
Amazon's are going to be like 15.
Google's roughly a fraction of Microsoft, which is a fraction of AWS. Let's put it that way.
AWS, let's see. They have Q4. I don't think Amazon has reported yet for Q1, but Q4 of last year, they were 12.7 billion. I'm just looking to see Q1 of 20, looking for the number. I don't know. But the point is so small. Profit margins I would be really interested in having Google spin out its profit margins on cloud. I feel like they do a lot of marketing and stuff that AWS and Azure don't have to do, because Google is still very much an also ran cloud. They have, I feel like they must give a lot away, basically. I don't know what else to say about that, but they're spending, it makes sense for Google to have a cloud operation simply because they've got to support their own operations. And this is like an add-on to everything they have to do anyway. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you look at their CapEx and their data center planning, they might as well throw cloud in there.
Brady R in our Discord chat was wondering if you could say that Google's cloud has anything more than a hobby at this point.
It's more than a hobby simply because they hired Thomas Kurian. This is a big deal for them. They do want to boost this, and they're going to get much better. They've finally hired people who are cutthroat and willing to offer cloud and real enterprise services. So yes.
And by the way,
you just got a big contract with Univision.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
For back end the broadcast? It's a Spanish language broadcast.
It's their digital transformation. Okay.
Stacy sounds skeptical.
That's just, I don't get so excited about media companies. Your cloud demands as a media company are not as exciting as your cloud demands as many other types of companies, I guess. I'm just, I don't know. I'm like, fine. It's not like getting a financial service like a bank or something, or even an interesting industrial manufacturing client. It's a media company. The
self-same Brady R asked, or actually responded to you, Jeff. Yeah, there's an area he'd like to see Google put some of that money into. Google Fiber deploys.
Yeah.
They kind of backed off on that.
That's not economical for Google.
I know.
Okay, but they got enough money. Let's help some people out here.
They announced 2 new deploys in Utah last week. Of all things, I thought they were done with it, but apparently not completely, not utterly done.
Back.
Yeah.
Would the cost of that eventually go down over time?
No. So their issue is Google thought they could do it. They built their own equipment. They came up with some really innovative trenching things. But what happens with fiber? It doesn't scale like, deploying servers or software scales. You still have to dig
a trench. Yeah. And they were probably counting on, and you're an expert on this, Stacy, so I'll defer to you on this, sharing telephone poles with utilities.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they fought the good fight to try to get access to telephone poles. And there is actually Facebook is pioneering a better aerial fiber
this is for last mile
technology.
Because you can trench to a certain point, but at some point you got to get to the house. You're not going to trench to every house.
The trench is usually to the house.
Is it?
Usually
You're
do
trench
aerial.
everywhere? Oh, okay.
You hang it from the telephone poles for like along the roadways, and then there's the last like 100 feet to the house.
Trench that.
50 feet.
So it's the other way around. Okay, got it. That makes sense.
And Google also, it's not, I don't think they talk about this a lot, but they actually build their own metro fiber ring around each city. They don't use other people's infrastructure for this. So they, like in Austin, when they finally launched it, they brought us all in and they showed us like where they actually live. And I was like, that is like a full-on telco deployment. I mean, it was pretty significant, I thought.
And even so, it's
expensive.
Right?
And what they wanted, the technology they thought they had they called it micro trenching. It didn't work out. So then they ended up having to truly dig holes.
So Google's so we're all in agreement. Google has a lot of money. We don't agree on how they spend that money. And we wish they would spend it on something that we would like, like a pony. But no, they keep buying back stock. Are we in agreement? That's the gist of that conversation.
Have they bought back a bunch of stock in the past?
No, they don't buy back stock a lot.
50 billion is a lot, especially when your profits were only 33 billion. That's a lot. What were their profits?
Well, that's just for the quarter. That was just
for the quarter.
It was 18 billion for the quarter, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. But the 50 billion is over a year or something.
Well, Apple's numbers are up too now.
Oh, Apple's are out? All right, let's go to the tape. You have a ticker tape in your office?
I can't make
Are you asking me?
How do I make a different ticker? What does it sound like?
Let me reach out to the Bloomberg.
If anybody,
do you have a Bloomberg?
It would be Mr. Jarvis.
Yeah, no, he seems like he'd have a ticker tape over there under a glass dome, and Stacy seems like she'd have a Bloomberg terminal over there.
Do I look like? Am I made?
There you go,
Linotype,
Linotype. Yeah. All right, I got something completely different, and then we'll do Apple. But I was just reading this great article. Do you know what the Mandela effect is?
Negative.
The Mandela effect is based on a researcher's discovery that most people think that Mandela died in jail. Nelson Mandela.
Really?
Yeah, Fiona Broom, who's a blogger, named it the Mandela effect after she learned a number of people shared her erroneous belief. Human rights advocate Nelson Mandela perished in prison in the 80s. Of course, remember, he got out of prison.
He was president of the country for God's sake. Yeah.
But there is this Mandela effect. So I'm going to test you on the Mandela effect. Are you ready? Does the Monopoly man have a monocle? True or false? Yes or no?
Monopoly man, true.
Yeah, he's a monocle, right? Right?
True.
Yes.
Yeah, no, he never had a monocle.
Okay. The New Yorker dude has a monocle.
The New York, that's probably where this comes from as a confusion. Just like a lot of people think that they grew up eating Jiffy peanut butter. There is no Jiffy.
No,
oh, no,
it's
no.
Jif or
Jif.
Skippy.
Yeah.
Or GIF.
Which also proves that GIF is GIF because GIF is GIF, by the way.
By the way.
Let's just be clear.
All right. Okay.
We're not going to fight about that now. Later.
Did Hannibal Lecter ever say, "Hello, Clarice"?
No.
Hannibal Lecter?
I guess you're going to all say no from now on because you kind of gathered the... No, he did not. He said, "Good morning."
Well, I didn't read the book. I saw the movie.
No, this isn't the movie.
Oh. Jeez.
Yeah. The killer never says the line in the movie. Instead, he says, "Good morning" when meeting Clarice for the first time.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. This is kind of fun.
It is.
Do you remember Ed McMahon?
His monocle is Mr. Peanut.
Yeah, Mr. Peanut. Yeah, it's just that's what happens. I think is in your mind. Remember, because everybody thinks that the comedian Sinbad was in a movie as the genie. but he never was. But it's
right. I did hear that
because they mix. Yeah. Did Ed McMahon ever show up at anybody's house with a big, oversized check? No.
Yes.
No, it was somebody else. That I do know.
Yeah. No. He never appeared on camera as part of the prize patrol. Anyway.
He had better things to do, like cashing his own checks.
Yeah. Star Wars fans have apparently a lot of Mandela effects. What did Darth Vader tell Luke when he revealed his parentage? Did he say, "Luke, I am your father"? He said no. He said, "No, I am your father."
I am your father.
No, I am your father. Yes.
I am your father.
Oh, you remember that? Very good.
Yes. We watch a lot of Star Wars and now. It's the hard.
All right, I'll give you some more. Wars. There's some more of these. Okay. This is a bizarre one. People think C-3PO is all gold. He's covered with gold. You know better.
Right. He has wires hanging out of right near his belly, but I believe that's more like a shirt.
The lower portion of his right leg below the knee is silver. Okay.
Why would people think about this?
Okay.
I was kind of thinking he was brass.
Did Tom Cruise in Risky Business dance in his underwear and Ray-Ban sunglasses?
Didn't watch Risky Business.
Oh, it's a classic.
The sunglasses were different seeing.
Didn't wear his sunglasses. Yes, right. Very good. And here's it wasn't Sinbad, it was Shaq.
I heard Sinbad.
Okay, the widespread belief that an entire feature film exists called Shazam. Oh, yeah, starring Sinbad as a genie. What they are probably recollecting is Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaquille O'Neal, yeah. That was Shaquille.
But I tell you, people will swear, oh, no, I remember Shazam. It was a great movie with Sinbad, right? Never.
And this is why witnesses
are terrible.
Eyewitnesses
are terrible.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was Kazam with Shaq, but people thought they saw Shazam with Sinbad.
Yeah.
All right. That was just a break so that you would be able to stop your Discord.
Before we go in, can I just do a little plug for something?
Yes.
Thanks to Stacy.
Yes.
So Tuesday, Stacy and her wonderful husband are nice enough to come and speak to a group of people trying to start their own media businesses through my little school.
Nice.
And I wanted to thank her for this. And if you're an independent journalist running a Stacy-like business, trying to make a go of it, serving your market directly, DM me if you qualify, and we'll try to include you in with your email address.
I'm trying to start a business.
Stacy and Andrew.
I have this idea for a podcast network. Could I come in and?
It's like, sure. Leo, you are far above and beyond my business.
No, not true. That's great that Andrew's doing it too. That's great.
That's great. I'm very grateful.
He's
Thank
the
you,
money
Stacey
man.
And Andrew.
Yeah, it's a two-part thing, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's also. I have seen the presentation. He's actually doing a presentation for you, Jeff. He's very conscientious.
Are they PowerPoint slides or Keynote?
He would be doing PowerPoint or Google Slides.
Okay.
I would be working in Keynote. But
okay.
What was I going to say? He's run a publication for years, longer than I have. So
nice.
Stacy, when you found yourself on the street and debated to find another job or not, what was that conversation like with Andrew? Did he say, listen, we know how to do this? No, don't do that. Or did you say, I want a job? Or did you say, I've had my last job, I'm fed up with it? How did that happen in your head? What happened?
Well, when I found myself on the street, it was like a week, if not less, that Fortune said, we would like you to come to us. So my time on the street, I don't have a resume. So I didn't have that. And Andrew, but as I became increasingly miserable, Andrew was like, you could start a business. I was like, no, I don't want to do that.
Got it.
He did. Well, I think it became pretty apparent that if I didn't start a business or leave that job, that Andrew was going to be like, I don't want to live with you. It wasn't really that bad, but I was pretty unhappy.
How long were you there?
Not even a year.
So from the first glimmer of a thought of doing? Did you think about doing? I'll get over this in a second, Leo, but I find this fascinating. Did you, before you went there in that week interregnum, did you think, no, I shouldn't do this, I should get or did Andrew say, or did you think then of starting a business, or was only when you were in the new job you got miserable and said, all right.
When I was overwhelmed at GigaOM, starting a business was always on the table as an option. So probably as far back as 2013.
So it was festering.
Yeah, like
it was
like some sort of.
So when you started it, one last question. So when you started it, was there a cycle of hope and despair to hope and normalcy kind of? Was there a moment where you said, oh, what did I just do? Or did you from the first minute say, thank God I've done this and never look back?
Oh, no. I still question it. Like, even today, I'm like, I should get a resume put together.
Really?
Wow.
You're such a success.
I respect that.
It's very hard to do something on your own. I'll talk about this with your people, actually. This isn't really I don't think a great, for existential soul searching purposes, I find having my own business hard.
Every time I go by a McDonald's that has a help wanted sign, I still make a mental note.
Yeah, like seriously, I have my plan. My plan is Starbucks barista for the win.
Yeah. No, because I worked at McDonald's and I know how to run a fryer. And I think if ever I need a job, there you go. There's somebody looking.
You can push those buttons.
I got the skills. They might say, you're a little old. How long has it been? 40 years.
You could be a greeter at Walmart.
I can always do that. Get the little jacket.
No, people would never be able to shop because you talk them to death at the door.
I think we would be a great greeter.
I beg your pardon. Hey, wait a minute. Come here. Let me tell you a story before you go shopping.
See, there are good Walmart greeters, and then
what color was C-3PO's leg? There he is dancing, by the way. See the silver leg? See there?
So was it a spare part?
Yeah, I think that's what the those little Javas were doing when they.
Oh, yeah.
And here's another animated GIF from the Discord. My name is Kazam.
Tell it.
I love it. You know, that's one thing that we miss that we don't have in the IRC. It's probably a good thing, is animated GIFs, but they are all over the Discord. Everybody does that. They do
make it fun.
It makes it,
GIFs are the best.
I kind of regret in Slack they have that capability too. I finally had to put my foot down and said, I'm trying to read these messages. Can you stop?
It's a business.
It's a business.
Oh my gosh, are you one of those mean bosses who say no animated? Oh, Leo.
Look, I just said in the general channel,
right?
I just want to be able to read the messages without having to wade through dancing bears, if you don't mind.
Yeah, but then what's funny is you, like, within a week after that, you put a GIF in there.
I know. But I had a good reason.
A GIF.
Yeah, that was funny. When we were raising money. So I had a little animated thermometer GIF that showed, how much money we'd raised. And I apologized. I said, I know I'm not supposed to do this, but I'm going to break my own rule.
So later on, I put it in blue on the rundown. We'll talk about Basecamp.
Oh. Put a pin in that one. I do want to do it. Real quickly before we take a break, I want to, this was also from the Discord, Sundar Pichai, the CEO of Google, talking about, on CNN, about the COVID crisis.
At the highest levels from President Biden, Secretary Blinken, there's been focus on engaging to see how we can help India and the other countries being affected.
I won't play the whole thing, but I think it is important to note that Google is putting some of that money, $18 million towards COVID relief in India. And I would hope to see other companies do the same thing. It's a global crisis. It's not a United States crisis. It's not a problem we can solve in the U.S. all by ourselves. Because if people are dying in other countries from COVID-19, that's just as much of a risk to our shores as it is to theirs. So I'm glad to see
it is enlightened self-interest to help the world.
That's exactly right. Yeah, it's a global crisis. It's not a local crisis. Yes. Sometimes you got to do things globally, unfortunately. We will come back, and I do want to do your little thing. Did you see
Apple's earnings?
No, we did Google earnings. They're done.
Apple's earnings. You promised
Apple's.
Apple.
We could do Apple's. This isn't the Apple show. Did you see?
I know, but you. Okay.
Okay. You're right. Keep me honest. You're right. Can I play
like the Federal Trade Commission, keeping you to your promise?
I know. She's tough.
I'm just saying. I've got it pulled up. I'm ready.
Good. No, good, because I don't. So good. Keep it. Real quickly, and then we will go to our ad, Google's ad from the Oscars the other night. Did you see this?
I'm what's called a coda.
This was really good.
Child of deaf adults.
My parents were both born deaf.
How many people are deaf in the world is this search? 466 million. Hello in sign language, and he gets a little grandchild.
Turn on caption.
Isn't that great? Love the captions. Oh, okay, I'm going to cry now. Damn you, Google. And they're teaching their baby sign, which is wonderful. Oh, I love you, yeah.
We can't wait for you to meet him.
Oh. And that's actually appropriate for the Oscars because one of the nominated movies, The Sound of Metal, is exactly about that, the experience of the deaf community. And boy, if you haven't seen that, it's well worth it. What a good movie. Yeah, that's touching, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Now we could take a break, and then when we come back, Stacey Higginbotham with Apple's quarterly earnings. Stacey will go on the call with us.
From Wall Street.
From Wall Street. From
the NASDAQ headquarters on Times Square in New York.
Okay.
I want to talk about...
Our financial reporter, Stacey Higginbotham. Take it away, Stacey. Not yet. No, not yet. We got a commercial.
Not yet.
I will be the traffic reporter. Skip Laporte. I'm up here in the Chopper 5, and it's looking pretty good. Okay. Our show today.
I'll be the weather reporter. It's foggy again in San Francisco. No surprise. Happens every day. What do you need weather for?
The marine layer. I call it the marine layer. Our show today brought to you by Audible. Audible fan. Obviously, Audible's a longtime sponsor of all of our shows, but also I was an Audible subscriber back in 2000. So that's my 21st year getting Audible, hundreds of audiobooks, I should say, in my library. And what's great about Audible is that library, it grows, and I can go back and listen to those audiobooks anytime I want, which is wonderful. But it's not just audiobooks anymore. Audible is about audio of all kinds, the leading provider of spoken word entertainment, all in one place. You can find the largest selection of audiobooks, bar none. If it's on audiobook, it's on Audible, ranging from bestsellers and new releases to celebrity memoirs, languages, business, motivation, and more. Get original entertainment from top celebrity creators and thousands of popular and binge-worthy podcasts. Something brand new at Audible since we talked about Audible last is called Audible Plus. And I basically, they've got a huge selection of audio entertainment that's yours to listen to, all you can eat, in effect. It's all about giving members a chance to listen to and discover new favorites, to explore new formats like the exclusive Words Plus Music series, a podcast maybe you've never considered before, theatrical performances. You get original entertainment from top celebrity creators, thousands of popular and binge-worthy podcasts. That's the one I'm listening to right now up there on the upper left. It's Barack Obama's. Now, normally Audible has great actors hired to read these, but in the case of A Promised Land, which is the former president's memoir of his time in office, he reads it, and it's great because you're in effect hearing in his voice what it's like to walk into the Oval Office for the first time, what it's like to sit down with the cabinet table for the first time. He describes the Situation Room. He says, from movies, I thought it was going to be this giant cavernous place with this big table and lots of screens and stuff. He says, really kind of a small room with some TVs that would be shamed to be at a sports bar on the wall. It's really great. He's got a sense of humor. He's a very, very talented writer.
I began writing this book shortly after the end of my presidency.
And he can
after Michelle and I had boarded Air Force One for the last time and traveled west for a long deferred break. The mood on the plane was bittersweet.
It's just really great. But that's one of the things I love about Audible is it brings the experience of people into your ears, into your life in a way that no printed book can do. And you can listen to audiobooks whether you're walking the dog or washing the dishes. Lisa and I have formed a new habit, which I really like, of instead of watching TV at night, we'll go to bed early and we'll put an audio book on and listen to it together. And it's really wonderful. She picks one, then I pick one, then she picks one. I'm just a huge fan. And we're really happy to have Audible back as a sponsor. Audible Plus gives you thousands and thousands of popular audiobooks, original entertainment and podcasts, ad-free versions of your favorite shows, exclusive series, all available to download or stream. You can listen anywhere, anytime, on any device, which is great. I mean, I tell my Amazon Echo, it's my favorite command on the Echo. I use it all the time. I say, Echo, read to me. And it picks up wherever I left off on my latest audiobook. I'll just love that. Of course, to use your Audible membership, you'll need to download the Audible app. It's free. It can be installed on pretty much everything you've got, smartphones, tablets. Listening to Audible inspires, connects, it entertains. You'll be laughing. You'll be crying. It's wonderful. Audible Plus, your playlist for life. If you are not already an Audible member, and I know many of you are, I invite you to try it now for free for 30 days. Go to audible.com/twig. That way they know you saw it here, and that helps us. Audible, AUDIBLE.com/twig. Or you can text TWIG to 500 500. 500 500. Audible.com/twig. And folks, if you know, Ant, do you ever listen to audiobooks? I don't know if you're an Audible.
Listener. Yes, sir. I love audiobooks, and I got a bone to pick with you because on Twit this Sunday you brought up an audiobook that you loved and had all of the different emotions involved and whatnot. And my argument is American Gods, the full cast version.
Love it.
Oh,
love
man.
it.
So daggum good. I put that audiobook up against any of them.
No, I've listened to it. I own it. And the 10th anniversary edition is a full cast production. Audible does this with some of the books. They did that with Neil Gaiman's. Neil Gaiman's other his comic book, The Sandman. The production of that is just as good.
Are they Audible or are they pulling it from the BBC versions? Because
no, Harper Audio. So it's okay. So let me play a little bit of the American Gods for you.
They took her to the cemetery in a big old Cadillac. They took her to the cemetery, but they did not bring her back. Old song.
I have taken the liberty,
said Mr. Wednesday, washing his hands in the men's room of Jack's Crocodile Bar,
of ordering food for myself to be delivered to your table.
Now, let me tell you, you may have seen the TV version of this, which is great. You may have read the novel, but you have not experienced American Gods till you have listened to this. And just imagine, lying in bed and listening to this. It's a movie, and your brain makes a better sets, better everything than any movie can be. It comes to life. You are there in that alligator bar. You are there. It is amazing. I agree with you 100%. It's one of my favorites. All the Neil Gaiman stuff is good. And by the way, many of Neil Gaiman's audiobooks he reads himself, which it turns out he's a very good reader. But here's the BBC one. You were talking about BBC. BBC did Neverwhere. And
I have that one too.
Christopher Lee, James McAvoy, Natalie Dormer, David Harwood, Benedict Cumberbatch is in it. And this is
Marquis de Carabas.
You can't stay there. They'll move you on or take you in. Trust me, I know.
No. I'm not begging. I just came out for air. It's my leaving party in there, you see.
Again, the best possible experience. This is why you've got to join Audible. I'm just saying. You see, I have 2 credits. I don't, and I always look forward to credit day at Audible. It's on the 22nd of every month. What am I going to listen to next? What are you waiting for?
Can I give you an Audible hack?
Yeah.
So first, welcome back, Audible. Glad you're here. Second, the reason I'm on Audible and have been is because of Leo and the commercials here.
Oh, good.
Which got me all enthusiastic.
Same here.
So, ich muss mein Deutsch noch studieren. Mein Deutsch ist leider sehr schlecht. So I want to learn my German again. I'm so bad at it. I decided. So Pimsleur is a wonderful language course. I love it. Half hour a day.
Yep.
I've been doing an hour a day. And I was doing Spanish in the car, but for reasons I want to do German now. But it's expensive. It's like
I know
it's 20 some bucks for every 5 lessons, and there's 5 levels with 30 lessons each. And so if you buy it straight out, it's $550. And I was about to do that, and I went to Audible, and I saw that if I switched my plan, I was on the Audible Premium Plus plan, getting a credit a month. I switched to the Audible Premium Plus Annual with 24 credits.
Oh, yeah. Instead of
so I got the
month.
entirety of the Pimsleur program in German for $229.
Good deal.
Now, I'm using my whole year just on Pimsleur.
I'll add to your hack. There's another select place where you can get a lot of college courses. It's called The Great Courses. I get the catalog. Could be really expensive. They've got the great courses on Audible. So we've talked before about John McWhorter. He wrote the, what is it, Our Bastard Tongue.
A Bastard English Tongue.
And Talking Back, Talking Black.
Talking Black.
He is a lecturer, and he does the story of human language, among others, in the Great Courses series. I've been listening to this. So if you ever thought, it'd be really fun to study with Professor McWhorter, because he's one of the great linguists alive, he's at the Manhattan Institute, you can go and listen to these lectures right here on Audible. The thing is, it's more than just audiobooks. It's all sorts of stuff. Einstein's relativity and the quantum revolution, modern physics for non-scientists, the history of the medieval world, building a better vocabulary. I wish, honestly, my life is too short. There's too much good stuff. I want to listen to it all. And it's all available to you right now at audible.com/twig or text twig to 500-500. AUDIBLE, audible.com/twig. It's really a way to get more out of life, because while you're doing other stuff, raking leaves, washing dishes, walking the dog, you can listen to Audible and expand your whole world. I think it's the single most valuable thing that I've ever done, and I'm really glad to have him back as a sponsor. Audible.com/twig or text twig to 500-500. Gee, I wonder if Apple had a good quarter this year. How could we find that out?
Let me tell you, Apple had an astonishing quarter this quarter.
CNBC calls it a blowout quarter.
Their sales for this is their second quarter of their fiscal year, just so you know. They're on not a calendar fiscal year. Their sales were $89.6 billion, which is up 54% from the same period in 2020, driven by device sales. iPad and Mac sales nearly doubled.
Wow.
This is possible partly because COVID. People have been buying computers left and right. They also, for the first time in a long time, have boosted their profit margins to 42%. Profit margins are the magic of any financial, I don't know, it's profit. And Apple has done a really good job. Their margins are exceptional for a hardware company. At 38%, they were great. At 42%,
42%? Holy cow.
It's like they don't actually have to make physical devices, but they do. And then the other thing worth noting is their service revenue was $16.9 billion, which is about 19% of their total revenue. And we were like, not even a year ago, we're like, oh, Apple really needs to get into services. And they're like, okay, sure, we'll do it. And holy cow, they're doing all right there. And that's where I'm going to assume a lot of their profit margins are coming from, that and the freaking expensive $1,000 iPhones.
I'm sure the gross margin went up because of services, for sure. Yeah. They are, by the way, we said Google was doing $50 billion in stock buybacks. Apple's going to do $90 billion.
Yes.
In stock buybacks.
Do we know what Apple's current cash on hand is versus Google's? I'm going to look that up.
It was well over $200 billion last I checked. I don't know what it is currently. I could probably find that for you. They're spending it down. But with revenue growing at that rate, you got to spend it. You got to spend it fast to keep up. It's incredible. $17.73 billion in China alone. I mean, it is Mac sales up 70%. You know what else is up? Dogecoin.
Yeah, I know Jammer B loves that.
Elon Musk and Mark Cuban. I think Elon's doing this just to see what he can do with tweets. He just loves the power. Dogecoin, which was created as a joke, cryptocurrency, a meme, the Doge meme, a Shiba Inu, thanks to tweets from Musk and Mark Cuban saying, what did Elon Musk say? He had a funny little tweet. He said, he calls himself the Doge Father. He's also mentioned he's going to be on Saturday Night Live on May 8th. The Doge Father.
Yeah, that's by the way.
As I've said before, it just proves you don't have to be funny to be on Saturday Night Live. That's all.
True.
I guess we've known that all along, haven't we?
True. Yep.
Mark Cuban tweets, because Doge is the one coin that people actually use for transactions. We take many others via BitPay, but people spend their Doge, and that means more businesses will start taking it. The greatest inhibitor to its growth is you can't spend the Doge you buy on Robinhood. That's why he likes Dogecoin.
Oh my gosh, you could have magical speculation in cryptocurrency markets fueling massive speculation in the stock market.
Oh.
Holy mackerel.
Now you know why GameStop.
Well, GameStop wasn't fueled by Bitcoin or crypto. It was just fueled by bored people with stimulus payments.
I think there was a correlation between the stonks folks on.
Well, I thought it was just they're like, I'm bored. Let's make some fast cash. Imaginary
and that
cash.
differs from the Bitcoin investors. How?
No, I'm saying that's the correlation. I'm not saying they were.
That's
there was
the
a
correlation.
Direct
Right.
A direct link.
So what is the? Let's see what the current Doge price is. I'm just curious.
31 cents.
Oh, it's not that high.
Nope.
How much did Father Robert have?
It started at like 4 cents.
He had millions. Father Robert had millions, but he sold them for $1,000 total. He could have had maybe several 100,000.
Well,
welcome to crypto, right?
But just in a month ago, it was roughly a nickel.
Yeah.
It's a big jump.
It's a big jump.
Yeah.
Amazon has said it's going to raise wages for 500,000 workers between 50 cents and $3 an hour. That's, they were at 15. So the federal minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. Amazon gets a lot of heat. I think this is one way they're responding to that heat, to say, no, not only do we pay our employees well, we're going to pay them even better. It'll spend more than $1 billion on incremental pay for those workers. So I think, we talk a lot about Amazon and being not a great employer, et cetera. I think it's important to also mention that they are going to give everybody a big raise. Let's see. That was our money segment.
I think that's sort of par for the course from a.
It's okay. You can call me your money, honey. Go ahead. I know you will.
I will not be calling you that.
Okay. Moot has left Google.
I had questions about this. I didn't even know this Moot person was there.
Who or what is a Moot?
We reported it. If you'd listened religiously, which is the only way to listen to Twig, you would have known. Chris Poole.
I have my sacrament right here.
Yes, that's right. You've got to be on your knees while you listen. Chris Poole, who founded 4chan, left 4chan, came to Google. He was there 5 years. He held several roles, including starting at its social media arm. I guess that's Google Plus. CNBC isn't clear. Eventually taking a role in Google Maps. His last official day was April 13th. He has not responded to requests for comments nor what moot means.
Any mention of how many shares he has?
Oh. He sold 4chan for an undisclosed amount to a Japanese entrepreneur. But
was he 15 years old when
he was a kid
when he started?
Yeah, he was a kid.
Amazing.
Yeah, age 15.
Amazing.
That was in 2003, so he's a little older now. But the boy genius of the underground. So anyway, so much for that. It was actually fairly controversial. The reason I remember it is when Google hired him, because 4chan does not have the cleanest reputation.
Nope.
4chan is not as bad as it. I mean, it's always been bad, but it doesn't seem as bad when you compare it to 8chan. So
right,
some anchoring going on there.
Yeah. Is that what you call that, anchoring?
Well, in pricing, it's anchoring when you set a super high price and then a low price and a medium price.
I get it.
When you
that's
you anchor it like this is what something costs, or this is how decent a site should be.
The Freakonomics thing where you set a low price, but you don't expect anybody to buy it at that price. The anchor. That's why Apple always says starts at $9.99. But if we really want to make that profit, you ought to buy the $2,500.
You've got to buy a minuscule amount of storage.
Yeah, $23.99 for the top of the line iPad. That's where your 42% profit margin comes from.
God,
for an iPad, that's before you get the keyboard, which is $350.
That thing is crazy expensive, but I'll admit I would love to have one as a reference display for editing,
because it's the mini LED, which is a new display technology that's reputedly very good. It's P3 gamut, and it's got very wide color dynamic range, high dynamic range.
I would love that compared to what those things normally cost. They're normally like $7,000.
It's a reference display,
right?
Yeah. But it's only 12.9 inches, but it's still a reference. It's very accurate. Yeah, that'd be the only reason I get it is maybe if I could do all my photo processing on it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm going to have to decide by 5 a.m. on Friday.
I got you back.
Dude, you're just going to buy it. Accept it. I mean, come on.
Are you saying don't fight it? Don't fight the feeling?
Just roll with it, and you can argue that it's professional. I mean,
well,
come
it
on.
is. I mean, I have last year's iPad. I don't need another iPad. No one, in fact.
You certainly do not.
It is probably the case no one ever needs an iPad, right?
With I would need screen, one. I think it's important to test the technology.
Oh, God, thank you. Bless you, Stacey. I take back everything I said about you.
I think I need
only
a
said
new
nice
iPad.
things about me.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
In my hearing.
No, I always say nice things about you. What's that you got there?
I think this is the 6th gen. This isn't a Pro. And the reason I don't use it.
How do you look at those bezels without laughing?
Because it's underpowered.
Yeah.
And I just don't have a reason to use it. I use it to read that Washington Post stuff, or every now and then some other online consumption. But I would love to process more on it. But it's just not powerful enough. And yeah, I would like to have a Pro, but man, they are super expensive.
Yeah.
You can usually do trade-ins. I know Kevin, he has a Pro and he loves it, and he's looking at the trade-in value. So as long as Apple doesn't switch out the chips, you're fine.
Scooter X in our chat room is just trying to drive me nuts. He's saying he's basically typing the specs in. 2D backlighting system with 2,596 full array local dimming zones, 2732 by 2048 pixel resolution at 264 pixels per inch. ProMotion technology, wide color display, P3 True Tone display. Scooter X, stop it. Sold. Yeah, I'll probably buy one. 5 a.m. I have to get up because I'm sure they'll be in short supply.
Yep.
Want to talk Basecamp?
Yes. What was this? All I saw was the headline. Fun names. What was that all about? Fun names.
So there was a reckoning at Basecamp where they had been keeping a list of fun names, and they're evidently, I guess, offensive enough that people wouldn't even tell anybody what they were.
So first explain what Basecamp is.
You better explain that.
So I'm actually fairly familiar with it because the guys who founded it, Jason Fried and David Hennemeyer Hansen, are really great guys, very smart. They created, I think, some of the earliest Web 2.0 software. There's software as a service, that was running off the web. DHH wrote Ruby on Rails. He's very well known for that. And Jason Fried has written a number of books, including Rework, which he wrote about 10 years ago, about doing innovative new companies for the 21st century, things like that. It was originally called 37 Signals. You might remember it as 37 Signals. They renamed it after their biggest product, which is called Basecamp. Basecamp is basically a web-based project management system. A lot of companies use it. Very popular. So these are people who created accounts on Basecamp. By the way, Basecamp had a very generous free trial, so probably a lot of these are free trial. So apparently some of the names were kind of like the names you'd hear Bart Simpson prank Moe the bartender with on The Simpsons, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm looking for a hug and kiss. Amanda hug and kiss. I'm looking for Amanda hug and kiss. Get it? Mm-hmm. Or Seymour Butts. Is there a
IP freely?
Yeah, so they
but some also evidently made fun of thus other cultures.
They were racist.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, let's back up for a second here. So what we see first is the founders of Basecamp, the bosses, saying new rules. A few points. One, there'll be no more societal and political discussions at our company on Basecamp account, period. Number two, no more paternalistic benefits. We're not going to nudge you. We're going to give you a raise to make up for it. You're not getting anything like that. Number three, no more committees, period. None. Number four, no lingering or dwelling.
Again, Fried is a thought leader in new ways of working.
That's his shtick.
He's famous for that.
Shtick.
So this has an even, it might be a shtick. It is even more. And again, I've interviewed Jason and David both on our shows on Triangulation, especially, and I have a lot of respect for them. But go ahead.
So, real quick list. No more lingering or dwelling on past decisions. No more 360 reviews. Yay. No forgetting what we do here. All right. So it was it was a very Jason Fried kind of, this is the way we work and I'm going to change the world and that.
Yeah.
Well, Casey Newton did some really, really good reporting on this. And
this is on his, by the way, brand new platformer. Casey left, was it Vox or The Verge? I can't remember. To go solo, to become, as Stacey would say, a sovereign writer.
Sovereign writer.
Sovereign.
If you want to be a Casey Newton, if you want to be a Casey Newton, then DM me so you can come and hear Stacey and Andrew explain how you.
There you go. Be the next Casey Newton.
You could be. So turns out, this is to the point now of this list, that this list resurfaced and there was a diversity committee and
nobody would talk about these names, by the way. Nobody knows what the names were. They were so bad nobody would even utter them. Wow.
So what turns out was there were employees who were trying to have, as many organizations, including my own right now, are trying to have right now, as a racial reckoning and trying to have the proverbial difficult conversations everybody says they're going to have and don't have. And they were having discussions on the internal tools, and they had a committee about this kind of stuff, and people were very interested. And then, boom, stops because of that note saying, "Oh, we have new ways to operate here. No politics." Now, to me, to say that a company isn't political is like people saying that technology is neutral. It's not. Companies are political. What you choose to do as a company, what you choose to do there is political by its nature. You need to be able to discuss these things, especially today in America. You've got to be able to discuss race. Is it political? Yeah, and it's also core to the society and where we are and how we reckon with it. So Casey did, I think, really good reporting with current and former unnamed employees, anonymous sources, going through this and comparing it to Coinbase, where the same kind of thing happened. They banned internal political discussions. Well, when that happens, it's probably because they don't want uncomfortable conversations. Mm-hmm. And so what this comes out is it looks like, oh, this is the really cool company getting rid of 360 review and committees are so boring. And yeah, politics gets people in trouble. So let's not do that. Well, actually, said Casey, it may be that they are trying to steamroll over the problems that they should be dealing with. So I found this to be just a fascinating 1-2 punch. I read the Basecamp post first thinking, okay, more from Jason. Yeah. And then to get the backstory from Casey was really good work.
Is it the backstory or is it just Casey's? I disagree with you. It looks more like Casey's gloss on it without actually any direct experience.
Well, he
Casey
interviewed
talked to a lot of
employees.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how Casey didn't work there.
Talking about quitting.
Okay.
I mean, so I think the issue and this is tough. This is worth talking about simply because it's tough and it's common in many organizations. It's how democratic can a company be?
Well, we know this one isn't. It is not a democracy here at Twig. We know that.
Maybe that's why I'm sympathetic.
Leo's banning GIFs on his internal Slack.
Maybe that's why I'm sympathetic to Jason. His thought might be, you know what? This is an internal. I don't know if it wasn't Slack. It's Slack-like. It's Basecamp. But this is an internal this place for doing. We're here to conduct business.
Get work done.
This is not for
But if you have a racist experience at work, that part of the business, that's what you got to cover.
Absolutely. But should it be discussed at Basecamp, or should you go to HR and say that dick is a racist? I mean,
well, so when it's your company culture, I mean, if the company culture is to have a set of basically a racist meme, let's just call the list a racist meme that people have been contributing to for years. And you're like, hey, this isn't cool. And they recognize that. They were like, that isn't cool. Let's take it down. But as people pointed out in Casey's story, also outside of this list, is if you're talking about things like compensation on the site, if your compensation is basically built on tenure there and everybody who's there is white and male because, they're just tackling diversity issues, then you have to talk about these things as part of business. And maybe it's something about focus groups that you're trying to, it features in software, like Black people really hate something about our software. I don't know. I'm just making things up. You have to be able to talk about that. And I think the big uproar, and I think what's hard and what we're going to be dealing with for decades to come, and I think it's going to be painful, but really important, is we have lived forever in a society that is inherently racist, and we don't always recognize those things. And when people point it out to us, it's really uncomfortable because no one wants to be, most of us don't want to be a jerk. And so when you start talking about that in work, some people are going to be uncomfortable. And you can always point out, hey, well, maybe everybody else has been uncomfortable this whole time and they couldn't talk about it. And so now they are, but it's still hard to get your work done and also be made to feel bad. And this is going to be a dynamic that we're going to have to deal with. And Jason basically is saying, we're going to not have these conversations as a way to not deal with it, which I think is reflexively what many people will want to do, but it's not the right thing to do. And it's not going to help us address all of this. And I think this is gathering so much speed because this is a microcosm of literally everything we're having to talk about and go through in America today. And I think that's great, but it is hard. Okay, that was my Stacey gets really sincere. No,
and I think that's a really good point. I think what you're seeing is that Jason and David, who look at the end of the article, it says, and I think this is true, that basically Basecamp exists as Jason and David's kind of basically exists for David and Jason's enjoyment. One employee told me at the end of the day, if they're not interested in seeing things in their work timeline that make them uncomfortable or distracts them from what they're interested in. And this is the culmination of that. And so I understand. I mean, that's kind of how Lisa and I run this company. It's for our enjoyment. A small company especially, that's kind of not unusual. But you make an excellent point that there has to be somewhere, if people are uncomfortable and there are things going on that make people feel uncomfortable, there has to be somewhere to discuss that.
So here's what Casey wrote. Interviews with a half dozen Basecamp employees over the past day paint a portrait of a company where workers sought to advance Basecamp's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion by having sensitive discussions about the company's own failures. After months of fraught conversations, Fried and his co-founder moved to shut those conversations
down. Cut it off, yeah.
And there was a DEI committee. There was a DEI council that attracted significant support. More than a third of the company, 20 out of 58 employees, volunteered to help. They began examining Basecamp's hiring processes, how Basecamp employees socialize, what speakers they might invent to all remote events and such. But in the aftermath of these discussions, employees began to discuss the list of the customer names. That's when it got uncomfortable, and that's when they shut it off. That's a problem. And to act like this is forward-thinking company, when that's what's happening, that's not transparent, and that's not really dealing with the issues you should deal with. That's my view.
And it's really a shame because people do. Oh, go ahead, Ant.
I do agree with the point that these conversations should be had, and I think it's good to have them in a private HR setting, if you will. But if that doesn't happen, then that's when you take it to the big board or the general
Would it be okay
if you have to get heard?
If they said, all right, we're going to set up an area of Basecamp that's for these conversations, but we'd like to segregate that from the area where we're trying to get work done and trying to make this business run, but still have those conversations.
You can't run a business. I think the point you might be thinking about is, can you run a business today without running into, let's say, systemic racism and sexism? And many people would argue that you can't. We think we can because we've done it forever.
I understand. So, but what I think is probably unproductive and might hurt the business of the business is that there's disagreement. Anytime you're going to have a political discussion among any group of people bigger than 5,
it's not politics to say, hey, we should be recognized. I'm sorry, systemic racism isn't politics. It is the way we...
But understand what the conversation is like. You would say that, which you agree with, and say, and then somebody's going to say, no, you're full of it. And somebody else is going to say, no, you guys are crazy. And then you're going to get this battling going on in this message. So if you
talk about it from that, sure. If you say, but these conversations come up, like, I'll just tell you, I had a conversation with my editor at IEEE at one point, and I had brought up using smart home products as, people using them for domestic violence, right? As a coercive tool in domestic violence. And that was not the point of the article. The point was something related, but not that. But I focused on that. And he was like, oh man, they're going to hate this. And I was like, why? And these are the kind of things, like, so we had this back and forth, and he was fine with it. He's like 27 years old, and he's like, of course we should be talking about this. But, the old guard doesn't like it. But
But that's a conversation between you and the editor.
Yes, but
what if you put that in a public group and had 20 other people weighing in on it?
I think that's okay. And you can always have someone say, all right, this is done, moving on.
Well, I think that's kind of what Jason said.
Well, sorry, you can't say this is done forever, moving on, when it's like, you can say, hey, I don't think we're having a productive conversation now. And I think this is a skill people need to learn.
Right. We can have these conversations, but we can choose a different forum for them. Did that come out right?
Yeah.
If we're going to talk about operations, let's talk about operations. If we're going to talk about some issues, let's talk about these issues over here in private, eye to eye, and get this stuff hashed out so we can get back to operations and making money.
Yes.
I also think there's value in doing it in a public forum because it allows people, if you can keep it civil, it allows people to be exposed to other people. Like, I sat in a meeting where the top editors made fun of microaggressions.
See, that's why I say a separate forum, because I've never seen it be civil in a big group. It always devolves into a bunch of finger pointing and misunderstandings. And then it's always out of context because things are written. So you don't know the tone that is written. So,
yeah, the right way to handle this might be say, look, this is not a forum for this. Let's have a company meeting, bring in a facilitator. We sit down, let's all discuss this. Yep. Facilitator needs to be there. Otherwise, that's the part of the problem with the online forum is there's no facilitator. And we need to hash this out. And yes, you're right. This is an issue we have to address as a company, and we as the owners and managers have to address. But this may not be the perfect forum for it. That would be an appropriate reaction, I think.
Yeah.
To shut it down and say, no, we're not going to talk about that. That's dysfunctional.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Yeah, that's just dysfunctional. That's a lot of families, a lot of groups do that. Yeah, we're not going to talk. No. We don't want to talk about it, and that's not going to help an organization of any kind. Maybe this is a little on their part. This is kind of a knee-jerk reaction to I don't want to hear this anymore, and that's a little dysfunctional. I think maybe you're right. I just feel like I don't know if Casey Newton is going to get the actual. I guess somebody has to do this work, but it seems like an internal company matter. Maybe not.
Well, except for Jason Fried is.
Well, until he made a big announcement.
Yeah, well, he just put it on the blog, but he's also someone that literally people look to understand and deal with workplace culture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he's worth profiling for that reason alone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, and it's a very outspoken. He's outspoken, and the company's outspoken about this stuff. And yeah,
it's unlikely that someone would take my internal memos and post them, even if I posted them.
But if
they wouldn't be
Newton
talking about
did,
it because. But no one cares what Stacey Higginbotham is doing on her workforce. So
it's an interesting story. Yeah. All right, I'll come around and say, my initial reaction might be the same if this kind of stuff happened in our internal Slack at Twit. But I think you're right. If this stuff comes up.
I think your point at the end was right.
You have to address it.
Right. But the thing is,
if you're going to deal with it,
Laporte,
you should. There are ways to deal with it.
Right.
But that's the thing. I've seen you and Mrs. Laporte say in meetings, hey, let's have a discussion over here.
Yeah.
And that's the right way to handle it. If something comes up, you all have been very blunt about saying, come to us and let's talk about this. Yeah,
we're both. I mean, that's part of the problem with in a business is you want to get the job done of the business, and it's really easy to get sidetracked on these admittedly important conversations. But to the point where the job stops getting done, then the business is going to collapse. So you got to.
Don't get me wrong. I'm with you on that because I enjoy having my bills paid. But at the same time, if there's a problem, I want us to hash out the problems, and I'm bold enough to come to you directly in private, not with any disrespect, to say, hey, this is an issue. Let's address it, please.
I think our TriCaster has crashed. We're stuck on the same shot. Sorry.
Yeah, I had issues with it this morning. I had to reboot TriCaster this morning.
Yeah. Sometimes we get in that situation. I'm looking at I'll take this opportunity to look at the stage in the Club Twit Discord and remind everybody.
Oh, this is where we're going to take audience feedback. I love it.
This is where we take audience feedback. If you have anything you want to say to me, raise your hand.
I hope you have on your
hand.
Raise your hand. I'll take this opportunity to mention that we have now a Club Twit, which is pretty exciting, and it's been going really well beyond my expectations. A lot of people had said to us, there's too many ads, or more likely, people say, I don't mind the ads, but I don't want any ad tracking. And this is kind of everybody agrees. We don't want ad tracking. But advertisers love ad tracking, and they've kind of been pushing us in that direction a little bit. We use services like Chartable and Pod sites that we think are non-intrusive. They aren't the same kind of tracking that is happening on the web, but at the same time, there are people who don't want that. So we decided we should offer a way of supporting Twit without ads, an ad-free version of our podcast network, and that's called Club Twit. For $7 a month, you get ad-free versions of all of our shows. In fact, this ad will be cut out of the Club Twit version of the show. And it was kind of an unexpected benefit. We also decided, besides the ad-free versions, we thought that's the chief benefit of this. No ads means no tracking. It's, you get a feed that's just for you. That's just, the shows with no ads. We also thought we should set up a Discord server. Discord is a very popular chat platform, originally for gaming, now widely used by a variety of communities. It's become an amazing community that we've really had fun doing shows in and doing other stuff in. So that's another benefit. You get to participate in our Club Twit Discord. You also get an additional feed that's not available anywhere else. That's the Twit Plus feed. And it's really just stuff that's on the cutting room floor, the discussions before and after shows, little shows that we're doing in the Discord. Lisa and I did an Inside Twit last weekend. We also did a Linux show on Saturday. We'll probably do that again this Saturday. Little things like that. And those go in the Club Twit Plus feed. So all three, ad-free, plus the Discord, plus the Twit Plus feed, $7 a month. And if you want to know more, certainly no obligation. The beauty of this is nothing has changed. The free tier is exactly as it always has been. Everything we've always done for free is still available. And no one's going to look at you askance if you don't pay the $7 a month. It's just a feature for people who wanted it. Twit.tv/club Twit. Twit.tv/club Twit. But I have to say, we've been having a lot of fun in that Discord. It is, I think you'll see it's well worth the $7 a month. Nobody has raised their hand, Stacey. You're lucky.
Why am I lucky?
Nobody wants to get into this conversation. All right. YouTube is doing so well. I mean, we saw the quarterly results for YouTube. On pace to bring in an annual revenue comparable to Netflix. That's kind of mind-boggling. And what a brilliant strategy to create a platform where you don't pay any money for the content. you just make money on the content. Revenue of $6 billion for the quarter, up, as I mentioned, almost 50% from the year before. It's twice the growth rate of Netflix. Netflix has about $29.7 billion in revenue, or will have in 2021. YouTube will probably exceed that this year.
So what is that? Is that, I wonder what proportion of that is advertising, what proportion of that is YouTube TV fees?
Oh, they don't break that out. That's a good point.
It's really interesting to know what drives the business.
Well, here's some numbers. YouTube users watch 1 billion hours of video, 1 billion hours of video every day. Netflix, 400 million. So it's more than twice the content consumption. Netflix spent $17 billion to create its content. Of course, they don't have ad revenue. They have subscriber revenue. YouTube does give some portion of its revenue back to the creators, but we don't know how much. So it isn't exactly free.
It's tiny.
Yeah, I think it's pretty small.
I can confirm that.
Yeah. We've never made much money on YouTube either. It's interesting. I don't know if it means anything. They're in some ways they're very different businesses, but it's still, video entertainment on a screen.
Mm-hmm.
Just two different ways to look at it. Unfortunately, if you use a Roku, you're not going to be too happy about the YouTube experience. And Roku says it may lose YouTube TV after Google has made some demands it just doesn't want to live up to.
It's just negotiation.
Yeah, this happens every time.
I like how Roku
this is carriage agreements.
Twitter about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. This is cable TV. This is the new cable TV. Welcome to it.
Roku says Google has asked Roku to do things it does not see replicated on other streaming competitors' platforms, like creating a dedicated search results row for YouTube within the Roku TV smart interface, giving YouTube search results more prominent placement. Google has required it to block search results from other streaming content providers when users are using the YouTube app on Roku's system. You can't recommend anything on a different channel. Roku alleges Google has asked it to favor YouTube music results from voice commands made on the Roku remote if the YouTube app is open. Even if you set the preference to Pandora, if you say, play Barry White, it's going to play it on YouTube. That seems reasonable. If you've got the app open, Google has threatened to require Roku to use certain chipsets or memory cards that would force Roku to increase the price of its hardware. YouTube says, it's just a negotiation, folks. We've been working with Roku in good faith to reach an agreement that benefits our viewers and their customers. Unfortunately, Roku, this is interesting, Jeff. Unfortunately, this is from YouTube TV. Roku often engages in these type of tactics in their negotiations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're disappointed that they chose to make baseless claims while we continue our ongoing negotiations.
They're being mean to us. When I was in the edge of the business, when I worked for Advance and they owned a cable company, people would sit me down and say, this is how it works in the cable business. Just for the sport of it, they leave not one scrap of meat on the table.
Just for the sport of it.
Just for the sport.
Yeah. It is. I have a little experience of this working for Tech TV in the cable business. It is a brutal business. It's not.
When if this were to go down and YouTube doesn't end up on that platform, who's the winner there? YouTube?
Yeah, exactly. Nobody. And the biggest losers are we, the viewers.
The viewers are the losers.
Yeah. Do we want to cover these Facebook stories? Facebook stopped employees from reading an internal report about its role in the insurrection. BuzzFeed News.
Got out anyway.
Yeah, they got out anyway. Comic is unapologetic about putting garlic on fans' shopping lists.
I just found this amusing.
Mike Trapp. It has come to my attention that some of you have had garlic added to your online shopping cart while watching the latest Actually near an Amazon device. At the time, I was, hilariously, trying to use voice commands to make Mike Drucker's Echo buy groceries he didn't want. While this was obviously very funny during the filming, I never dreamed it would affect our viewers in the final cut, and thus become even funnier. Ha ha! As a comedian, I must sometimes experiment with bits that it may not work, and in this particular case, I knocked it out of the effing park. Yep. Nevertheless, some of you may not want garlic added to your order, even though you never really can have too much garlic.
True
it's
that.
Probably low anyway. To these viewers, I'm sorry for the inconvenience and only ask that you consider what a gosh darn hoot this is. I'll try to do better in the future, but it'll be hard because this is the best. To which I respond, add garlic to my shopping list.
You could have picked a different thing to add.
No, but I think he has a very good point. You can always have more garlic.
Okay, all right.
By the way, I actually handwrite garlic on our shopping list every week.
Well, and it's not a terrible thing because garlic's relatively inexpensive.
It's cheap and it doesn't last long.
Good for
yes.
I actually bought on Amazon a garlic keeper because I was so unhappy with the state of our garlic. So there. You know what I need now? Maybe you can make a recommendation, Stacey. You seem to have kitchen sense. I need a basket to hang the onions and the shallots in.
You can't just put them in a basket?
Well, we put them on, right now we're putting them on a counter. I want something that just kind of...
I have a bread basket that I just stick them in.
Is that what you do? I feel like it needs air.
Nice wooden bowl.
It needs air. That's why I have a garlic
it needs like a mesh of something, yeah.
Yeah.
And you should never store your onions and garlic near your potatoes, by the way.
Uh-huh. My point exactly. Oh, I found it. A 3-tier hanging basket fruit organizer, heavy-duty wire organizer with sealing.
I wouldn't put your garlic
in your fruit. Hang that. Just stick a basket inside your freaking pantry.
No, but if you're hanging, it's in the air and it can circulate.
It keeps the vampires away. So my
basket, this is like a basket, and then at the bottom there's a little ridge.
Yeah.
And so
the onions are up in the air.
And the basket circulates the air. I mean, you do you, man, but I don't think you need to. I mean, unless you like really want a hanging basket.
Put garlic on my shopping list.
Put a hanging basket on my shopping list.
Burger King's new ad forces Google Home to advertise. This is old. How did this get on the list?
It was because I put it in there because it was a greatest hits of putting things on people's shopping lists.
That was the classic. Oh. They got in a lot of trouble for that.
Okay, that was relative trouble.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like they went to jail or they got fined or anything, but people sure shook their fists in the air at them. Let's do a Google changelog. What do you say?
Woo.
Play the drums.
Oh, no, TriCaster.
The Google changelog.
TriCaster needs some more RAM.
The chat room is so mad at me. Sorry.
Damn you.
Sorry. Google adds COVID restriction alerts, new road trip mapping features as vaccines enable safer travel. So this is actually really good. If you search for hotels in Toronto, this is an example from 9 to 5 Google, you will see a big pop-up that says quarantine for 14 days required after entry. And then there's even a checkbox that says receive an email if this guidance changes. Canada's really cracking down on travel to Canada. So that would be a very good thing to know. These are all for those in the U.S. who are interested in taking a trip after staying home for the last year. You can also, let's see here. You can also, in the Explore tab on its travel site, instead of just showing flights, the page will now show places you can get to by car. because it's obviously a little safer to go by car during the pandemic. You can tell it flights only if you prefer, but it's nice to have that as a addition. You'll see more destinations on the map too, including smaller cities and national parks. So, and you can filter that as well, but some more ideas of places you can go as you plan your road trip. And finally, they're adding more features for road trips. Oh, that's the more features for road trips. Google does say travel demand is growing considerably. In April 2021, the company says searches for hotels were at the highest they've been in the last 10 years. But at the same time, searches for, quote, travel restrictions by country were also at an all-time high, which is one reason I think
if we don't help the world, we're not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. We might get back into, gosh, it'd be so sad if we had to go back inside after all that.
But it was hot out today, and I was thinking I'm not ready for summer and heat. I was thinking it's kind of okay to sit inside all the time.
Yeah.
I was fine with that.
I think we've modified, we did Windows Weekly earlier, and our host Paul Thurrott got it was 2 weeks after his second shot. In fact, today's my 2-week mark. Thank you. And I'm tempted to go out and kiss a stranger just to celebrate.
Just to get in trouble.
Just to get in trouble with my wife. But he went to Boston, hung out with friends, went to bars and stuff, and came back with a horrific cold. It's like,
well, he's not a spring chicken either, though, right?
Well, but also if you're not exposed to any germs for a whole year, yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
If you take off the mask and don't wash your hands, and suddenly you're going to get something.
Thank goodness it's a cold.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but he's really sounded bad, the poor guy. So maybe just stay away from people. How about that?
Have some whiskey, Mr. Thurrott. You'll be good.
A little peanut butter whiskey fixes all that stuff.
Oh, whiskey with honey and lemon.
Yeah, sure.
Toddy.
That's my hot toddy of choice.
Hot toddy. Get back in my body, you hot toddy. What whiskey do you like?
Oh, for that, I just do whatever bourbon or whiskey.
Whatever brown liquor.
I have a Bainbridge Island whiskey. Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah,
I don't have bad whiskey lying around.
If it's here, it's good. I discovered something at Safeway. They keep all the good stuff locked up behind a counter. You have to tell them. I
didn't know it was behind the counter.
There's some good whiskey back there. Some Whistle Pig, some Angel's Envy.
Strange thing to have grocery stores that sell booze.
You don't do that in Jersey? You have to go to a box store?
Not really. Well, a few do.
Yeah.
Google, yeah, in Texas, you don't either.
That's right.
It is weird.
Yeah. What do they call them? Package stores. Is that what they call it?
Packaging stores is what we had in the Carolinas.
We just call them liquor stores, but
liquor stores, yeah. Same thing in Canada. You have to go to a special place to get your booze.
You used to have to go to a beer store. Just beer.
Yeah.
No longer.
Google Fi, happy birthday. I didn't realize it was 6 years old this week. They have a new Simply Unlimited plan that lacks Unlimited Plus extras. Oh, what a way to celebrate. In the beginning, remember, Google Fi was simple. There was one plan. $20 gives you unlimited text and calling, and then $10 for every gigabyte of data. That was it. Then they introduced a couple of years ago the bill protection thing, right? So, and that was for $80. And then a year later, in 2019, the unlimited plan for $70. Now, this is their third new plan, Simply Unlimited, unlimited data, although you're capped at 22 gigabytes, so it's not really unlimited. Talk and text.
Unlimited.
But you don't get the international. See, I've been paying for a Fi, and one of the reasons I use Fi all this time is because it's great for international travel, but what a waste for the last year.
Well, but you can pause it for 3 months at a time, which I finally did.
That's
it took me a long time to see that.
That's good. So this limits international data benefits to the U.S., Canada, and Mexico, and no tethering. $60 a month for one user, and as you add lines, it goes down $30 for every line when there are 3 or more members. So that's that's not complicated at all. Simply not unlimited plan. Simply limited until you get 22 gigabytes, and then it's limited.
What, so $60 per line per month?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot more than we've been paying, right? Because we only pay if we use data. So I don't, There's also
a lot of people are raising their prices now. The post-pandemic price mageddon.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Spotify's raising their prices. Procter & Gamble raising their prices. Lots of companies.
Yeah, Spotify went up on the family plan, I believe.
Yeah, but it's only like $1.
$1.
That's how they start, though. It's $1 here, $1 there.
I don't believe it. That's how it works in the cable.
Also, they have $100 off on select phones to celebrate.
We'll see if they have some new phones soon.
Yes, so we should talk about that because...
Well, but is that changelog or is that real?
Oh, shoot. Darn it. No. I'm so easily distracted. Squirrel.
Hi-oh.
Well, you know why? Because I really hate the changelog. It's so boring. Google run Android earthquake.
Why do you do it then?
Because somebody said I had to.
It's not boring.
It's not boring.
Sometimes
it's relevant information about Google delivered relatively quickly.
We're doing it.
Now we know who said you had to.
We're doing it.
And Stacy.
We're doing it because we call the stupid show This Week in Google. So we got to have something in Google-y in there.
Yeah, as opposed to This Week in Jeff and Stacy and Leo arguing.
That's what it really is. This Week in Discord. Not with a capital D, a lowercase d. Google run Android earthquake alert system now providing warnings in first 2 countries. Drop, cover, and hold. Here comes an estimated 6.1 earthquake 16 miles away. God, I don't want to get that announcement. I'd rather just be surprised. Now available in Greece and New Zealand. There you have it. I guess we have it in California too. So, wait a minute. I'm confused. They have the detection system has been live for the past few months in Northern California, or in California. It's the U.S. Geological Survey's Shake Alert system, now available to Android users in Oregon as well as California. It will roll out in Washington this May.
Woo!
When the big one comes, you'll be carrying your iPhone.
The detection system. See, the thing is that's really interesting to me is the sensors in these phones are sensitive enough to pick up the shaking. I guess, though, distinguishing between an earthquake. Oh, I know why. Because it would be me and John would both be shaking at the same time in the same way. Then you would say, there might be an incident going on, right?
You're riding on a
it could just really be tied to the fact that the USGS
Shake Alert
sends an alert out, and then you check it out. I mean, we could all get together in a room and shake our phones a lot.
That's true, but it seems like that there's
Google's
something.
Too smart for that, Stacy. They know better.
So I actually just literally before the show was talking to a company that provides sensors that measure earthquakes. They use highly sensitive accelerometers. You need them in 2 locations to do this, and there's actually a pretty solid algorithms that you have to develop to figure out if it's an actual earthquake.
So what I'm guessing is, since you don't get these alerts on your Android phone now in the U.S., but you can get it now in Greece and New Zealand. That they're trying it out in Greece and New Zealand before they roll it out in the U.S. But Android owners will be able to opt out from settings, location, advanced earthquake alerts. It's in there. And it says, according to 9 to 5 Google, the detection system has been live for the past few months, but Google has not been using it to send alerts yet. Rather, those that looked up, quote, earthquake near me in Google search were asked if they felt shaking. Did you feel shaking? That's not what I want if I search for earthquakes near me. Did you feel something?
Feeding the algorithm.
Did you feel something? Did you feel something?
Yeah, that's how
feeding
things
the algorithm.
get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're feeding the algorithm. Okay. So we don't have it yet. They do in Greece and New Zealand, but I'm guessing it's a small pilot just to see if it's safe. Get ready for
only 3 stories through the changelog, folks.
Oh, we're moving faster now, though. Get ready for guacamole. One of the things I like about my Google Nest Hub Max is when I set a timer and it starts beeping at me, I can just shout, stop, and it will stop. I don't have to say the hey Goog thing. As an example, hey, I'll add garlic to my shopping list. I don't have to say that. I just have to say, stop. which is what apparently a lot of people are doing right now. Anyway, this is called guacamole. It'll let you snooze without saying hey. I don't
like snooze your alarm?
Skip saying for help with quick tasks, but they don't say.
How does it always listen? So then it just is always listening? And it.
Oh, no.
Well, no. I mean, this is a relevant question to ask.
It is.
I mean, because
So a ringing alarm can be canceled just by saying stop or snooze. So
does it knows because it's ringing the alarm?
The alarm is ringing and it says, okay, let's listen for snap or snooze.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
All right.
When the phone is ringing, you can say answer or decline because it knows.
Oh, okay. Again, context.
Yeah, context. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I think it's
they didn't explain it
Guacamole
very
is just,
well.
Yeah.
Guacamole is the name of the update?
No, it's the name of a very delicious avocado-based dip.
Well, that's what I'm like. I'm like, you said, let's talk about guacamole. And I'm like, yes, let's. And then you're like,
you were excited. We've been...
How much garlic do you need in that guacamole? Should we order some more?
Yeah. the feature is code-named guacamole. Don't bother me. That's
why? Who knows?
Why? Who knows? Because it's fun to say holy guacamole. That's why. Wait a minute. Is it working for you, Ant? Or did you just get a earthquake alert?
Oh, no. I just got the update for another part of the change log.
Oh, coming here. Which one is that one?
It's moving us along.
the noise and option in Google Photos.
Sharpen and denoise rolling out to Google Photos. Mr. Photographer, what does sharpen and denoise do?
Well, see, if you look at a photo that you take in low light, you tend to get a lot of grain and noise and artifacts right there in the background, if you can see it on this camera. But the hard part about this is a lot of times Google's HDR AI will try to fix that before you even see this part of it. So I was wondering, I don't know how useful that's going to be, but I finally found a shot that actually had this noise in the background. And
so it's a dim shot of a bottle of whiskey in a glass. And so you get all that grain. Oh, it kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, it does pretty well.
Can I tell you, Ant, that I feel so sad when I take a photo and Google's like, this is a photo, but can I recommend a shot for you instead?
That is an insult.
And then you're like, dang, Google, so cruel.
So
I just wanted to complain about that.
I think they missed a bet. They should have called this bring out the sharpen and bring out the noise, but okay. Sharpen is what? What is sharpen?
Sharpening is in layman's terms the best way to try to give your subject a little bit more edge to stand out from its surroundings, but you don't want to over sharpen.
I always over sharpen. I know, because
looks really
bad.
They'll have halos around them.
I like this feature for Google Assistant. If you flub your voice command, how many times do you do that? You start a command and it just kind of disintegrates on its way. And it's like, oh, just forget it.
Put garlic on my shopping list. No, I mean shallots.
So I guess if Google is working on knowing that when you kind of correct it, that, in fact, I think this happened the other day. I said something like set a timer for 5 minutes. I mean 10 minutes, and it set a timer for 10 minutes. So it's starting to learn.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
It's in your head.
They call it the BERT system, bidirectional encoder representations from transformers. It's basically natural language processing. It looks at every word in the sentence as a whole and tries to make those corrections on the fly. That's interesting. And I think it did happen to me the other day.
So you want to try it right now?
No.
Okay.
That would slow us down, and we're moving on. YouTube adds even more video resolution controls and options on mobile. So now you can change the resolution. Just play with the options if you're on mobile. And
I didn't like that. The change in resolution, it used to be so much simpler. You just hit the hamburger button and it gave you your list of resolutions, 480, yada, yada, yada. Now it's like scrolling through and, okay, no, you want the maximum. But, well, then again, this maximum isn't quite the maximum. So you hit one more screen. I didn't care for that.
Yeah, it's the choice between simple choices and more granular, and I guess they're opting for more granular. You can change your YouTube channel name, but not your Google account name. So if you didn't like your YouTube channel name, which, by the way, happens all the time,
yeah,
or your profile picture, you can change it. And there were instructions here at cnet.com. It's in the edit channel section. So, but you can't. Sorry, Jeff, you can't change your name in your work account. It took Google 526 days to give you a way to search through your 172 games on Stadia. But, they're a search company. They should have figured out that people might want to search through your games. They're adding a new revolutionary search bar to Stadia. And that's the Google changelog. Congratulations. It looks like Kevin Toffel's going to be a GT Yellow Jacket.
This is so cool.
Georgia Tech?
Oh, yes, he did post it. Okay, I didn't know. I was so excited for Kevin.
Tech and a hell of an engineer.
I put this up. I was so excited.
Yeah.
He's a rambling wreck from Georgia Tech.
Yes, that's the song.
He's a little sad because he wanted to be a Sun Devil, not a Yellow Jacket, but he was really excited about this program. It's all online. It is a legit program.
Good for him. It's a master's in computer science.
It is a master's. He's been teaching. He's been taking community college programming classes, and he loves teaching people how to program, but he can't get any jobs in teaching without a master's.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I adore working with Kevin, obviously, but he's going to be so great.
You see,
and
I have only a bachelor's, and I have started 3 master's degrees.
Oh, wow.
Journalism.
Well, we won't tell Kevin that.
No. You'd think that his kind of experience would get him a teaching gig in the field.
They're very focused on having that degree before he can.
Where's he trying? Is he trying to teach at community college level or something like that? Or
yeah, I think so Kevin, I mean, like every week he sends me something new he's coded up, right? Just for fun. Like the other day he was like, hey, look, I just made my own version of Trello. And I'm like,
wow, that's impressive.
Okay.
In Python? In Python? Wow.
Jeez. In Python. I mean, it's in Python. Sometimes he sends like little quizzes he's done in C. I mean, it's just whatever.
He's very proud and nobody cares. So we're going to play this song for Kevin Toffel.
And a hell of an engineer.
Go ahead, sing it. A hell of a jolly good fellows that drank my whiskey clear. I'm a rambling wreck from Georgia Tech and a hell of an engineer.
Hey.
Oh, if I had a daughter, sir, I'd dress her in white and gold and put her on the campus to cheer the brave and bold. But if I had a son, sir, I'd tell you what he'd do. He would yell to hell with Georgia like his daddy used to do. Hey. This is a very interesting song.
A marching band. I wish everybody had their own marching band.
This is just for Kevin Toffel.
Like individuals?
He is a rambling wreck from Georgia Tech and a hell of an engineer.
I love that song. I'm not a Georgia Tech fan, but I love that song.
How long does the degree program take? How long is he going to be doing that?
You can do it at your own pace.
Oh, so
it's designed for
years.
People who have real jobs.
Right.
So
Professor Toffel.
Really excited for him, y'all.
Yay.
Yeah.
So let's take one more break, and then I will do some more news. How about that? Speaking of Ramblin' Rex, I want to talk about the Enterprise Tech 30. This is a list developed by Wing Venture Capital in partnership with NASDAQ. The Enterprise Tech 30 is a list every enterprise startup wants to be on. It's great for you. I mean, if you're a founder of an enterprise tech company, it's the highest endorsement of your success, both current and future. And if you're trying to build a publicly traded company, man, this is a watershed moment in your journey. But for the rest of us, it's also a great buying guide. If you're an enterprise executive and you're trying to bring more validated and credible digital innovation into your organization, look at the ET30. This is the way to go. Now, there are a lot of lists, but I have to tell you, the thing about the ET30 that's great is you can't lobby your way onto it. You can only be selected, and the selection committee is very good. Very good. So it's a really valuable list to get on. Awardees to the ET30 are on a fast track of growth and to change how business is done. They're on their way to future IPOs, multi-billion-dollar exits. The Enterprise Tech 30 focuses on companies with potential at all stages of maturity, not those just mature, already with traction. There are a lot of startups in there. This is a hard thing to do. Enterprise Tech, especially if it's not public, they're not publicly held companies, it's fairly opaque. It's hard to tell if a company's doing well or badly, and people are cagey about their growth and revenue. Sales cycles can be very long and arduous. There are a lot of different stages you can be on, and some of them, you just don't have a lot of growth. There are a lot of lists. They're often dominated by consumer brands, well-known brands, or mature startups everybody already knows about. Not the ET30. This is the way to discover new enterprise tech. There's no bias. These lists are created by people who really know what they're doing. You can consider it an honor to be on it. A buying guide for executives, high-performance operators who use the list to guide their decisions on what companies to go to work for as well. Kevin Toffel. Really, really good. If you go to the website, enterprisetech30.com, we're on it right now on the video, enterprisetech30.com. Read about the methodology. I think it's important. It's at the top of the list because that is going to give you an idea of how valuable this is. There's no lobbying. It's no pay to play. This is really deep research. A very, very valuable list. You can get it right now. All you have to do is go to enterprisetech30.com to see who's on this year's list. It just came out. Thanks to Wing Venture Capital and NASDAQ and the ET30 for their support. enterprisetech30.com. The ET30 is out. What did you... Oh, I saw you pop that in your mouth, Stacey Higginbotham. I saw you pop that in your mouth.
Is it waffle time?
Did you bring enough to share for everybody? Oh, that dog ruse fooled me. Oh, right. I have a package. I have to go get a package.
I did bring enough to share.
The package is called Cheez-Its.
Your Cheez-Its in the mail.
Your Cheez-Its are in the mail.
Stacey, how pedestrian of you.
Cheez-Its are great. Do not knock.
Cheez-Its are delicious.
I agree.
Cheez-Its,
I eat.
Wheat Thins, or Triscuits.
Wheat Thins for the win.
Ooh, yes. All three. Yes.
Thin pepper crackers I like. I'm sorry. I can't do a show without
that's more like what I expected.
She needs sustenance.
That's what I expected of Stacey.
Yeah. Guacamole, and then Ant's taking a little swig of something there.
Oh, sorry.
My goodness gracious.
You weren't supposed to see that.
Is that like a snifter glass?
I see it all.
This is a Glencairn.
Oh, nice.
Glencairn whiskey glass.
Nice.
I'm running out of whiskey, so I'm trying to sort of go through it because once the bottle gets below half, it starts to taste bad. So I'm trying to go through it.
You mean once it gets old?
Yeah. Once it's about half empty.
Does your whiskey have time to get old?
Taste bad. Well, this is a 2-year supply, and I'm finally down to like my last 2. Yeah.
Because you got to come to my house.
Well, this is my special one. My Glendronach 18.
Wow, look at you.
I only drink that, for really special occasions, but it's about 2 years old and it's under half, so I got to get rid of it.
I know some ways you could get rid of that. I know how you could. Aunt Pruitt's on TikTok. Is this new?
Somewhat. Yeah, I'm on there. I only did it because of her, but I thought of Mr. Jarvis. Figured he'd get.
See, we corrupted you.
No,
who's laughing?
That's a laugh track on there.
It's one of their sound effects.
But I thought about you when I put that together because she's always on TikTok.
Yep, there you go,
Queen Pruitt.
Old timers on TikTok. And I laugh at her because she grabs her glasses because she can't see the phone.
Oh, I do the same thing. I do not use my glasses to look at TikTok. I like to get up close and personal.
She didn't know I did that of her. I'll show it to her later.
Oh.
She was
I was
okay
going to say,
with it.
oh, did you enjoy being married?
She was okay with it because she knows it's true because she can't see the phone screens, but that's just old folks on TikTok. That's how we look, apparently. I have other things out there, but I just wanted to share that for Mr. Jarvis.
Well, be careful, though. Do not do the single ladies move on TikTok.
That was a good story.
Jaquel Knight is a choreographer behind Beyonce's Queen Bee's Single Ladies, all the single ladies. He has copyrighted the dance moves from the single ladies video. Apparently,
I didn't think you could copyright dance moves.
Apparently
he has.
Do you want to see
This is Jeff and I typing copyright dance moves.
Exactly, choreography.
It was a successful bid.
It wasn't added into the copyright law until the 1976 law as a form of dramatic composition.
So the move is with your hand to show your ring, put a ring on it. Is that the thing? Or is it this whole thing?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I thought about this, and it made me think about Michael Jackson. And it made me think about James Brown. When you think about Michael Jackson from an entertainment standpoint.
Iconic dance moves, right?
He was an amazing dancer and entertainer, but he was known for that moonwalk, right?
Right.
Well,
right.
James
and by
Brown
the way, you
did
see
the
that
moonwalk too.
That's right.
Oh, so hold on. If I'm looking at the criteria, protection is more likely if it's by a skilled dancer, if it's for the entertainment of others, and finally, if it involves a story or a theme.
So that means
you can't just have one
copyright
move, you have to have
the Leo.
A related.
Okay, so hold on. Does that list say it has to have all three of those components or just one of the components? Because people on TikTok,
could you be an untalented dancer?
Well, remember,
it's all of those things.
Remember the attempt by Carlton from the Fresh Prince of Beverly Hills to
Alfonso Ribeiro.
Alfonso Ribeiro tried to sue Fortnite, Epic Games, because there is a Carlton like and the but in that case the judge said, "Oh no, you don't own that one. That I've seen that all the time," or something. I mean, it wasn't copyrightable because he didn't really invent it,
right? Yeah, whatever it is you're trying to do, we get it.
Okay.
You look like you had gas, sir.
It does.
Oh, you can't copyright end zone celebratory dances.
Oh,
or
that's
yoga
interesting.
positions.
What?
Or social dances.
Why not? Seems unfair. Oh,
not really. Yoga positions have been around for millennia.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Thousands.
So, Sundar Pichai says significant announcements at Google I/O as product cycles return to normal. We know Google I/O
Chromebook
will be May 18th through 20th. We will live stream, and I hope maybe Jeff, you should join me so we can hear you squee when there's a new Chromebook. We will stream the May 18th squee keynote.
It's on my calendar already.
Put it in. What day of the week is that?
It's a Tuesday.
Okay.
1 p.m. ET, so 10 a.m. your time.
Perfect. We'll do it right before Mac Break Weekly, and hope that he sticks to an hour. But if not, we'll push the shows a little bit.
Let's see, what did it say here? It's 2 hours.
2 hours. Well, we'll be pushing
1 to
Mac
3.
Break Weekly.
The developer keynote is 3:15 to 4, and the What's New in Android is 4:30 to 5 ET, because I'm at the center of the universe. So figure it out, people.
Yeah. Well, that's good because All About Android is that night, so they'll be covering that.
Yep. Great.
So the tease is that product releases are returning to a regular cadence. I had thought that was a little sleepy last year at Google.
Well, we talked about that, how they kind of pulled back on the phone.
Yeah, there was nothing in it. So let's see. Pichai said YouTube Shorts have 6.5 billion daily views as of March. That's the new compete with TikTok thing.
Right.
This is all from their Googly quarterly results. So yeah, the new schedule is out for Google I/O. The keynote 10 a.m. Pacific, May 18th. So we're adding to that to our calendar as well, Jeff. That'll be fun.
Were you surprised that Samsung didn't mention any Chromebooks this morning?
I thought they would. I really did.
Hurt terribly.
Yeah.
Yes. I actually watched it.
Hoping.
I don't understand why they can't make that nice machine and then just say, and you can get it in Chrome. I guess because you could also get it a lot cheaper than Microsoft. So maybe they don't want to do that. But
so basically, they announced the Galaxy Book Pro and Pro 360 laptops. And they said, and this was very odd, they are more like smartphones. I want a laptop that's more like a smartphone. Why?
Because people use them every day. It was kind of interesting. They use it every day. They love it.
Touch screen, stylus.
Touch screen.
Okay. It feels to me like
touch screen laptops, but I do like stylus interoperability with the laptop because I like using Photoshop and doing retouches with a stylus. I like that.
It feels like, well, we have this really successful product category, these Samsung phones. We should make everything more like that. And that seems like a mistake.
Well, they also did a shtick about how it's more interoperable with the phone, which has been there for a while, and B, that your laptop should be your ideal hub for your IoT.
Right.
Wake up, Stacey.
Well, with that argument, isn't Apple pretty much doing the same thing with iOS and how you're trying to continue to link everything together between iOS and macOS?
I was like, I think that's terrible. Don't do that.
Yeah. Well, I don't want more iOS-y features on macOS. That isn't what I like. And I
agree.
Yeah. All right. 15-inch Galaxy Book, 11th generation Intel. It was all Intel though, no AMD, huh?
Nope.
Thunderbolt 4. They'll brand it Evo.
It bored me watching it, and I eventually turned it off because I had to come in for Floss Weekly. But
it bores me talking about it. So
no Chromebooks, really?
Yeah, that is a little disappointing. Yeah. Well,
hand to my heart.
Significant announcements. They Google has not released a new Chromebook and a Pixelbook in 2 years, 3 years.
This is 2017. Oh, actually, no, that's right. You're right.
Because they had the Slate
book.
They
had the Slate and the whatchamacallit.
Yeah. So they're due. And I don't think they want to get out of this business. That's actually important business for them, I think. Yes. So SpaceX petitioned the FCC to let them fly their satellites for the Starlink project, the global internet project, lower. The operational altitude was originally 1,100 to 1,200 kilometers. It's going to go down to 540 to 570 kilometers. That's 336 to 354 miles high. These are very low Earth orbit. That reduces latency, increases speed. Amazon objected. They were worried about it, but after the FCC issued its order, Amazon said its concerns were adequately addressed by the conditions the commission placed on approval. I think this is fantastic. I don't have any thoughts about that low Earth orbit. There may be issues I don't know about, like astronomers' pictures of the sky and things like that.
Astronomers are not keen.
They're not happy. But I think global high-speed internet and every square inch of the Earth is a good thing.
Yeah, if it's truly global high-speed internet that's reliable, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a big if. We have yet to have that for satellites.
I think it's going to be transformational.
At a decent cost with decent devices.
Well, it's expensive now. It's $500. If you want to get in the Starlink beta, it's $500 for the equipment and $99 a month for the internet.
Yeah,
access.
but remember, satellite broadband service was terrible and expensive and slow. And then when you think about satellite phone service, it was expensive and slow.
Right.
So in this, 99, that's money, but it's not that much money for satellite.
Publix bullies chicken tender sandwich Twitter account into silence.
So this account existed to do one thing, to tell you when the chicken tender sandwich was on sale at Publix. That's all it did.
Publix is a supermarket.
Publix in the South. The sandwich has the chicken tenders and the mayo and one sandwich could be 2,000 calories.
Oh, what? That's more than my entire budget for the day. 2,000 calories.
Bless your heart.
Have some sweet tea with that and just kill yourself right outright. Just go
those
for it.
diets, man. When I hear people talk about 2,000 calories and stuff like that, I'm like, that's breakfast.
Yeah, but you lift, man. You lift.
That's breakfast.
I get about 1,600 calories a day total. Dad, you lift. If I lifted, yeah. How many eggs do you have for breakfast?
If I really want to do like I should do, I would have 6 at a time.
My doctor said I could only have 8 a week, and I was really sad about that because I don't eat a lot of meat, so I need protein.
I would do 6 at a time, but nowadays I only do 3 or 4 for breakfast. We go through a lot of eggs in our house. I highly encourage my.
That's why you moved to Petaluma. We're egg country.
Yeah, the egg
country.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah,
Mr. Howell put me on to Skippy's right down the street from the studio.
Nice.
Oh, love it. Thank you, Mr. Howell.
What's Skippy's? You never told me about Skippy's.
It's the egg store. They have
Skippy's
eggs and
egg
a lot
store.
of other stuff there. Yeah.
In Petaluma.
Is that next to your sushi gas station sushi store?
It's right down the street from the studio. And you go in there and they got just a mound of eggs, organic or what have you, and so much cheaper than going to the grocery store.
I've lived here my last 30 years. I never heard about Skippy's egg store.
Mm-hmm. I go there every week now.
Skippy's egg store. Is this it?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I'll get like 20 jumbo organic eggs for like $6. Get 20 for like $6.
Is that Skippy right there on the cash register? Is that Skippy yourself?
That I'm not sure, sir.
That's got to be Skippy in the picture there. Sure.
Oh, yes.
I don't know their names. They're just ma'am.
Our founder,
Skippy. Sorting eggs. Right there in the framed photo. Doesn't look that big.
But
it's an egg farm. It's an egg farm.
Yeah, it's a local farm. So you're supporting them, directly. I
live across the street from this.
Chicken?
Yeah, it's
How do I not know about Skippy's egg farm?
I'm serious. It's like 5 minutes, if that much, from the studio. So every Wednesday or every Friday when I'm at the studio, when I leave, that's where I go.
I know it's in Northern California because it's right next door to Funny Farms Hydroponics. So it's definitely Northern California. Okay.
Your first stop.
Skippy's egg store.
Once you got the eggs, what else do you? What are those big gallon jugs?
And they have cheese and they have ham. Sandwich meat ham and whatnot. But cheese and milk. I usually get milk there and get cream there because I like heavy dadgum cream in coffee, not that half and half stuff. Give me
it's
all
a
the
good
fat.
day for Skippy's when Aunt comes calling.
Have you ever heard we talked about this on Sunday with Philip Elmer DeWitt, who worked at Time Magazine. He was an editor at Time Magazine. Isn't he great? And he said that at a time they had
him.
Yeah, you know Philip. Yeah, you were at Fortune, right? Yeah, he was at Fortune. They used to have a phrase called "bury the pickle." It's a journalism phrase.
I saw that.
You guys, have you ever heard of that? Bury the pickle?
No.
It's not like bury the lead. It's writing a headline of a story that's so misleading that the actual fact of the story is not apparent until deep within the story. This is the pickleberry story that you were talking about. You say in the show notes, explain this to me, Leo, from the Washington Post. Minutes before Trump left office, millions of the Pentagon's dormant IP addresses sprang to life. After decades of not using a huge chunk of the internet, the Pentagon has given control of millions of computer addresses to a previously unknown company. In an effort to, now we get to a little bit closer to the truth in an effort to identify possible cyber vulnerabilities and threats. And then if you dig a little deeper, this previously unknown company is called the Pentagon. And in fact,
this story was this was terrible.
I could not figure it out.
They sent a reporter. This is the funniest part. They sent a reporter to the business address for this unknown company. Wait a minute, let me read this.
Yeah, this was funny. That part was funny.
Yeah, it's bizarre. As listed in the records, the company's address in Plantation, Florida, outside Fort Lauderdale. It's called Global Resource Systems. It's a company founded in September that has no publicly reported federal contracts, no obvious public-facing website. They spent the reporter. This is where it began. This is the pickle, by the way. This is where it began. The reporter found this, heard this. She said she looked it up. The office, the company address is a shared workspace in an office building that doesn't show Global Resource Systems on its lobby directory. That means she went there, right? She went and looked. Global Resource. I don't see it here.
You're going to see that in a minute. Yep.
A receptionist at the shared workspace said Friday she could provide no information about the company and asked a reporter to leave.
I said, good day, sir.
I must be on to something big here. They told me to leave. I'm on the trail.
So eventually this goes on and on and on and on and on and on. Finally,
it's a Shaggy Cable story.
It's a Shaggy Cable story. Finally, a spokesperson for the Defense Department confirmed in a statement to the Washington Post the Pentagon still owns all the IP address space, has not sold any of it to a private party because this this address space, which is 11 dot, we talked about it on Security Now yesterday, it's 11 dot something, something, something. They own the whole 11 dot, which is, I think, 145 million addresses. It's a huge number of addresses. But the Pentagon, we have to remember, the internet began as a Defense Department research project, DARPANet.
DARPA.
And so, of course they did. They said, well, we'll take those. Not that we'll ever use them. And in fact, there was at one point, and Steve thinks this is the real reason for this. At one point, Congress wrote a bill, but it was never passed to force the Pentagon to sell these addresses.
Yeah, with the IPv4, like,
they'd be worth,
we're out of IPv4
addresses. Worth $100
Pentagon
million
has
bucks.
A bunch.
Yeah. That bill did not pass. The Defense Department does not use them, but the problem is you could set up botnets because they don't use it. You could do all sorts of nefarious things pretending to be 11 dot. And so what they did is it's actually a completely reasonable security process. They routed all the traffic that had been going through that just to see, and then they searched through it just to see if anybody's doing anything bad with it and shut it down.
It's the equivalent. Yeah, it's the equivalent of having an empty house and checking on it.
Checking on the empty house.
Thank you, Stacey. If only they said that in the lead.
Good day, sir. I said good day.
I said good
day. Now, the other question is, minutes before Trump left office, part of the headline, and I have the chat room came up with some pretty speculation that probably this completely normal security procedure, this checking the house, this inventory, had approval from the prior administration, and they didn't want to go through the whole process again with a brand new Secretary of Defense and all of that. So they said, well, but, look, we better get this done before the inauguration. So that's why they did it then, and I think that makes sense. I don't know why, but in other words, as suspicious as this all sounds, there is absolutely nothing nefarious going on.
No.
It's completely normal. Completely normal. Good day, sir. I said good day. I love that. I love that, Ant. Good reference. More serious story. A man named Dan Kaminsky, who is a very well-known security researcher who's done some really, really good work in his life, passed away at the age of 42, very young age of 42 last week. Really sweet guy. I did not know him, but Steve did and said he's just, everybody who knows him says he was very, very sweet. This
obituary was the nicest. Is it really a formal obituary? I don't know. It was, as a journalist who has worked for years closely with some sources, I thought Nicole Perloff, who has covered this area for years, did such a good job on a guy that many of my friends know and were crushed by. So it was wonderful. And can I just say, this story as a mom, it made me feel so good. Like, here is like a mom who had a real influence on her kid and did a great job. That's all. Send it to your Mother's Day. Send it to your mom for Mother's Day and be like, you are this woman. You are like this level of mom to me. And the mom will be like, thanks. Please don't send me any more obituaries.
Writes in the New York Times obituary that Kaminsky was a respected practitioner of pen testing, the business of compromising the security of computer systems at the behest of owners who want to harden their systems from attack. It was a profession that his mother, Trudy Maurer, said he'd first developed a knack for as a 4-year-old in San Francisco after his father gave him a computer from Radio Shack. By age 5, he had taught himself to code. When Daniel was 11, his mother said she received an angry phone call from someone who identified himself, 11, mind you, as a network administrator for the Western United States. The administrator said someone at her residence was monkeying around in territories where he shouldn't be monkeying around. Daniel had been examining military websites without her knowledge. The administrator warned to punish him by cutting off the family's internet access. Mrs. Moorer warned the administrator if he made good on his threat, she would take out an advertisement in the San Francisco Chronicle denouncing the Pentagon's security. I will take out an ad that says, she said, your security is so crappy, even an 11-year-old can break it. They settled on a compromise punishment. Really amazing. He discovered in 2008 a problem. This is he's best known for, the problem with the DNS system, and got everybody in the country to fix this. He called Paul Vixie, and Vixie, once he heard the explanation, said, I realized we were looking down the gun barrel of history. It meant everything in the digital universe was going to have to get patched. Of course, Kaminsky was very, very responsible. Told Nick Vixie first. They fixed it before it was ever revealed to anybody. He kept it a secret until he presented it at Black Hat. I can go on and on. Kaminsky was a lifelong type 1 diabetic and unfortunately succumbed to ketoacidosis. Yeah, in the hospital. He apparently had been hospitalized frequently in recent years. So it's very sad. But here is a man whose life really made such a big difference. And yeah, I think his mom is pretty darn cool. So he's somebody everybody I think in our community has heard of. We've mentioned his name a lot, talking about security. EFF said that Kaminsky was a friend of freedom and embodiment of the true hacker spirit. The founder of DEF CON and Black Hat suggested he should be inducted into the Internet Hall of Fame. I agree.
Oh.
So I can go on and on. But yeah, I think you're right, Stacey. Everybody should read Nicole Perlroth's story in the New York Times because it's really, really good. It's really, really good. The final quote is great. The internet was never designed to be secure, Mr. Kaminsky recalled in a 2016 interview. The internet was designed to move pictures of cats. We are very good at moving pictures of cats. We didn't think you'd be moving trillions of dollars onto this. What are we going to do? And the answer is some of us have got to go out and fix it. And he did. So if you feel safe on the internet, you can thank Dan Kaminsky. He'll be missed. I think we're ready.
Can we do, John, can we do immersive mode in Zoom? Have you figured that out yet?
What is immersive mode?
This is new. We haven't. I don't know.
Brand new.
We haven't tried it. What is it?
Well, kids.
I could virtually punch Leo.
I was going to say, is it VR?
No, it puts you in.
I like what Stacey suddenly thought of as the very important use of immersive mode.
I missed it. What was it?
Punch me.
I could punch Leo better. See, Jeff's enthusiastic.
Oh yeah, we can punch Leo.
Yeah.
What is immersive mode? I don't get it.
So if you got a class, it looks like all the kids are sitting in rows in a class.
Oh yeah, Teams did this ages ago. This was Teams has this. There it is. Come on, Microsoft Teams had this. In fact, the NBA used Teams, big monitors in the seats, to pretend people were watching the basketball games.
Oh, I didn't know. Well, that's how they.
Yeah, they were big monitors in the seats. Yeah, Teams had this. Teams is more like you're in a theatrical, not seating.
Right.
This looks more like you're at a class bench. That's cool. Immersive mode.
That's cool.
Can you punch me with this though? That would be good.
Not in real life. I can just look like I'm punching you.
In order for us to use it, you'd all have to be in the same Zoom meeting, and you're not. Each of you has your own dedicated Zoom meeting.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
Yeah. But we've done it kind of here. That's what we do with the avatars.
Yeah,
actually be kind of cool, if we could simulate this table and put you at the table.
Stacey's arm was just going.
Giving you the punch.
She was. She actually, she said I could punch Leo.
I was very excited about this.
I know.
It would make her
Sorry
day.
to disappoint you.
You know what? One day Ant is going to be back in the studio, and I'm just going to have Ant. It'll be a punch by proxy.
Oh, geez. I'd much rather have you punch.
Ant's arm is a registered weapon. You can't do that.
I'm scared now.
We'll instead of a full punch, I'll just have.
So scared.
Also,
Ant can use a little finger.
My punching may be amazing. You don't know that.
But it's not mine. But it's not mine.
I have seen Ant's biceps. I have been to the mountaintop.
Yeah, Stacey. That was a threat, Stacey.
You want to watch the...
Your Honor, she tried to hire me.
You want to watch the Kid's Guide to the Internet from Yahoo?
Internet, cyberspace, sex-free, hello virtual reality.
Interactive appetite, searching for a website, a window to the world, got to get online.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
This was a VHS tape.
Welcome to the Jameson family.
Hey there, it's us again. This is my brother Peter, mom and dad, and I'm Dasha. Today, we're going to be showing our friends Andrew and Lisa the basics of the internet, and we thought you might...
Peter's definitely...
Beware! It's a dangerous place, and it will kill you.
Peter is definitely up to something no good. I don't know about this Peter kid.
When we installed internet access on our computer, I got the whole family involved.
It's true. Everybody had their own tasks to do.
It was a lot of work, but...
Don't you want to know where Peter is today?
Really worth it.
Now that I've gotten on the internet, I'd rather be on my computer than doing just about anything.
That's what I'm saying. What'd you find on the internet, Peter? What is it exactly?
Really cool.
The internet gave us a whole world of exciting new possibilities. So I guess this is a story of how it changed our lives.
I can meet girls on the internet. Doesn't that look like a face of a guy who's pretending to be innocent, but really is up to no good? I'm just saying.
I think we're hearing about Leo's
That's all teenage boys. I mean, come on.
All right, get ready because we're going to do moral panic.
Oh, no. What are you going to do about blood pressure? Oh, no. Oh, no.
Is this the Washington Post brain interface story?
Oh, yeah, I put that in there.
Your tech devices want to read your brain. What could go wrong?
Some things never change.
Hey, you could use your brain to just turn on the TV and turn it off. Isn't that cool? But ethics experts say they don't know what could happen.
Wrong. What is it going to find when it reads your brain?
What could it put into your brain?
Yeah.
It actually says that. It's just come on.
Hey, a little, by the way, now this is not moral panic. This is really a scary story from the Washington Post. She never returned her VHS copy of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
I love this story.
The DA's office.
This happened to me.
20 years later, she faces a felony charge. She was trying to change the name on her Texas driver's license. When they ran a background check, all they're seeing is these two words, felony embezzlement.
So Blockbuster back in like 1999 or 2000 sent a ton of people to collections for tapes that they either did or did not take out that were never returned.
This happened to you?
But this happened to me. When I was in this habit, I did not get charged with a felony, but I did get sent to collections, which for me was a huge shame.
Oh, that's terrible. No, that's almost worse than a felony.
Because Blockbuster.
That's the jail you don't get out of.
Had they had some sort of database error, and what happened is people who took out movies like right after you on the card or something got attributed to your card. So they had me taking out some video I never
man.
Like, so this woman, and there's a bunch of people in the comments talking about it, but it's from the same era when Blockbuster got super aggressive and had this whole database issue.
They were jerks.
So
in fact, this woman didn't take it out. She said, but she was living with a guy who had kids, and she thinking he went and got it and didn't take it back. What's even funnier is the cast of Sabrina got into the act. Including Melissa Joan Hart. Yes, who did the shruggy emoji. Okay, that's terrible.
No, this was highly traumatizing.
Yeah,
I remember once flying out of the country, and I remembered, oh hell, I didn't return a video. And I thought I was going to come back bankrupt. Because
the fees just mount up.
People.
Compound interest works both ways, buddy boy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a ridiculous industry that was. What a ridiculous industry. Speaking of ridiculous industries, Verizon is looking to sell its media assets. Who didn't see that coming?
Oh, boy. How much did they pay for Yahoo?
Oh, God.
And what else did they buy? AOL? Jeez. TechCrunch. That came with AOL, I think, right? Yeah, Private equity firms among possible bidders for Yahoo and AOL. You mean naming it Oath didn't fix all the problems? Yahoo is now at this point a toxic asset. That is so sad.
Well, that's the other thing. There's another story in the rundown that says that Yahoo is killing cultures because it kills all these things like Yahoo Answers, which as laughable as it was part of the culture, and it's just gone.
Yeah.
There's no sense of archiving here.
So it sold Tumblr off to WordPress for what is considered a nominal sum. They already wrote down.
Have naked bodies back or not?
No. Well, no, I don't think they brought back nudity. No. They spent about how much did they spend on this thing? A lot of money. $9 billion to acquire AOL and Verizon. It's thought they might get $4 to $5 billion selling it off, so that's a fairly big write-down.
I don't believe that.
They already wrote down $4.5 billion in 2018. I mean, they knew it was a turkey already. November, they sold HuffPost to BuzzFeed. Yahoo Finance, Yahoo Mail, TechCrunch, Engadget. They generated $7 billion of revenue in 2020. That's down, but I guess it's probably a money loser in the long run, right?
It's just not growing. Why would you keep an underperforming asset?
Yeah.
Yahoo is so laughable, but what if they had different leadership? What if someone else?
Well, we've tried that.
They tried that.
But were those the right leaders? What would you do with Yahoo? Were those the right leaders?
What would you do with Yahoo?
What
would you do with them?
I don't know.
You're the leader. You are now. Congratulations, Ed.
Don't make him the leader. You don't want to lead that
Yahoo.
Turkey.
I'd sell a lot of it out because But no, what if someone that was like a Nadella?
What if Elon Musk bought Yahoo?
Like that?
No.
Possibly. He's smart.
No. See, the reason none of those people have bought Yahoo
because they're smart.
The reason a telco bought Yahoo is because well, you do the math.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Because Rupert Murdoch wouldn't even buy it.
No one wanted it. It was a turkey. And Marissa Mayer is arguably the best possible person to try to turn it around. She couldn't even turn it around. I think.
Right.
Do you think she's sitting now thinking I'll make a bid?
No. She's got Sunshine.
Myself?
That's her new thing is Sunshine. You know about that? It's it's kind of a step down a little bit from running Yahoo. It's a contact list.
Is that Reese Witherspoon's thing?
No.
Oh, okay. She's got Sunshine.
What's her Sunshine? Is it sunshine.com? Maybe she's teaming up with Reese Witherspoon.
No, Reese, I'm sorry, is Hello Sunshine.
Oh, hello. This is just Sunshine. It's his contact manager. That's it. That's what Marissa Mayer's running these days. She partnered with the programmer she took from Google over. Here she is with what's his name? She took from Enrique. She took him over from Google to Yahoo, and then on to Sunshine.
Right.
Gotta say, her fashion sense is still on point.
Look at that! Wow, it looks like a butterfly's wing.
It is.
Yeah.
He has always been amazing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Hey, where are we in this show?
We are ready to do our picks of the week, ladies and gentlemen.
Stacey.
She ran out of Cheez-Its.
Halfway.
I did.
She's out of Cheez-Its.
That's it.
She's fainting.
Saturated with
She's
Cheez-Its.
ready for a trip to Skippy's egg store. And we'll do that in a moment, but let's in a bit, the picks of the week. Stacey Higginbotham, before you pass out, from lack of calories. What is your thing this week?
Okay, so my goal for y'all is to come away with a good idea for a Mother's Day present.
Oh.
So I'm going to throw out some gadgets and ideas for you.
Oh.
Appropriate to put to your mom.
Okay.
Possibly.
Love it.
If this is interesting. So first up, not a tech gift, but a really good gift for many people in many parts of the country.
Yes.
If your mom likes taking people outside, an outdoor picnic blanket setup.
Oh.
This is a good gift. This is a good gift for anybody.
Like
honestly.
a picnic
it's some of the best corporate swag.
basket, a blanket.
Just get the blanket. She
Just
doesn't
get
need the
the
basket.
blanket.
Those things, the blanket's useful for so many things. We all through COVID, we kept one in our car because, sometimes you get
you never
takeout
know.
and you're
That's
far
right.
away. Anyway,
So you're
that's
saying
gift number one.
give mom a corporate gimme blanket?
No. She doesn't have to, they sell them at other places.
Oh,
I think
okay.
LL Bean sells them. They don't give her, but like,
Look, Mom, I've got a
super practical,
Deloitte
but
and
it's
Touche
nice.
blanket for you.
Okay, you can also do that. And if you want to make it super special and you have
Yes.
the ability,
Yes.
pack a picnic and
Pack
give it
a
to
pic-
her at the picnic.
I love that. And guess what, Mom? You get to take home the blanket.
Well, yeah.
You're a winner. Congratulations.
You're going to try to phrase it a little bit better, but yes. I would give her the blanket and have
Listen,
the
not to
basket
Leo
ready.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
And then when she opens the blanket, you could be like, great, now let's go to our picnic. All right.
You
So
could do
now
what you
for
could do what my wife did, which is gave me something and said, "Have my son wrap this and give it to me for Mother's Day."
I
That's
love that.
That is
honestly,
also an option.
honestly the right thing to do. But go ahead.
So around the holidays, I told y'all about the $30 plant sensor that I bought.
Yes.
And I have now had that for 167 days, it has told me. And I've changed the batteries once. I'm about to change it again. So this is about 6
That's
or
pretty
7
good.
months of having this
That's
thing.
good. Yeah.
So it's still working. So I'm going to recommend that for your mom. And if you want, you can also pop a house plant in there. It's a Bluetooth sensor. I'm going to put it in the notes for Jason to make his life easier. And then the final idea, because this went over super well with my mom, is the Ember coffee mug, which is a connected, heated
I have
coffee
one.
mug.
Love it. Mom would love that, actually.
Everybody loves this. I mean, it is perfect as a gift because it's kind of extravagant. The mug is like $100 to $120 depending, but it's just so like, yes, it's a good gift. So those are different price ranges. $30, the blankets range, and 2 of them are gadgets. So there's my Mother's Day.
Very
thoughts
nice.
if your mom's into these things.
Love it. Happy Mother's Day. Is that this Sunday?
It is. Oh, no. Here's the other thing. It's May 9th, but the Postal Service is behind. So let me recommend
yes.
next week you ship that card.
That's a good point. Don't delay. I gave my mom a Whirly Pop and a 6-pound bag of popcorn.
Yes.
She liked it. She liked it a lot.
Simple pleasures.
Number of the week, Mr. J. Oh, you're muted. Hello.
I had my allergies. I had to sneeze.
Oh, yes.
So the Oscars, if you remember them, averaged 9.85 million viewers on Sunday. In 1998, it was 55 million viewers.
It was
Now, I saw-
not exactly exciting. They were in a train station.
Nice train station.
Okay, it's a good train station, but still a train station.
It reminded me of kind of the very first Oscars, which were about that size.
Yeah, that's
way,
true.
Way back when.
Yeah.
A little dinner. But so I saw Axios said that theater operators were happy. I don't fully understand the rationale here. Kind of saying, well, all your streaming stuff didn't work. They're gonna come back. I don't know. I think people are saying movies. I got Netflix. I got everything I want. I don't know if I need it.
I'm glad Nomadland won. I thought that was a really powerful movie. Actually, I also thought Judas and the Black Messiah was really good, and he won Best Supporting Actor. A little weird that they ended with not Best Picture, which they always end with, but Best Actor. And I think they thought Steve Soderbergh was a director, big Hollywood director. I think Soderbergh thought It's going to be Chadwick Boseman. And we're going to end with this, beautiful moment, this tearful moment, this proud moment. And it wasn't Boseman. He was nominated, but he did not win. And it just was kind of like a balloon with all the air let out. It's just like, okay. Poor Questlove had to say, well, it's been great. See ya. It was not good. This used to be a national holiday for me. I was a little disappointed.
But I think I didn't watch a single movie, so I don't know.
We tried. We used to try to watch all the movies.
Yeah. Well, I think that's over. Netflix led with 6 wins, Amazon with 2.
That's actually a big story. Netflix was dominant. Man. Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't have the business, but at some point they can wave goodbye to theaters. They don't really care. They put them in the theaters mainly so they can win Oscars. Netflix doesn't need it.
Yeah. You remember that, who was it, was inveighing against the idea that a streaming movie should ever be nominated for an Academy Award, that it should be in theaters. But, economics has a way of, trumping your heart.
So that's it. That's my number.
Yeah. Very low numbers. Lowest rated Academy Awards ever. Least watched, lowest rated. Mr. Ant Pruitt, what's your pick this week?
I have 3. The first one is I finally created an NFT because why the heck not?
I hope you get
rich. I tell you,
I hope you get rich. What are we bidding in? Ethereum?
Ethereum.
Okay.
Ethereum.
Look at the cat. The cat.
What the hell cat?
What the hell cat? You could own this fine cat. You'd be the owner of this.
It's really cool. It's really neat.
It's a great picture. Yeah.
I snapped that photo not too long ago, but then I just decided to have some fun with post-processing and editing, and
you put flames and fire behind the Hellcat. Minimum bid currently 0.5 Ethereum. Sale ends tomorrow. Hurry to.
And I'm going to relist it just to stick it out there because, again, why not? It's not costing me much of anything.
Actually, that's who makes the money in these NFTs, right? You have to go to a company to generate the NFT, and they take some money, don't they?
They it's just like any other place that hosts content.
How much does it cost?
Pay for it. It ranges. I think I put in, it was $30.
Oh, that's not too bad.
That.
Okay.
Yeah, it was nothing.
Do they take a cut of the sale?
No, not on that particular contract.
That's good.
It varies. It's a lot of. I did a little reading over the weekend on this stuff, and that's how I ended up on that particular platform.
That's a good way to learn about it too. Yeah, You're now our resident NFT expert.
No, not an expert, but I do have something out there in the world.
So
as much as anybody.
antpruitt.com/NFT.
That's the easy way to get to it. Next, I did another short film. This one's a lot shorter, and I did it in basically.
Do you remember the first time you saw
testing?
Lisa showed me this, and she was so proud of you. She thought this was so good. Is this with the Canon?
That's with the Sony
A1.
A1. But that's took an old video of the hard head and decided to redo it with the new video, and he obliged, which reminds me they are at their first track meet as of right now, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry you're missing it.
Oh,
get out of here. Go.
Oh, we're going. But that's my short, and I had fun with that, showing off the camera and just sort of going down memory lane with
Filmmaker
him.
Ant. That's nice. So this is the old video that you made?
That was about 4 years ago, I think, or 3 years ago, something like that. And
gosh, he's a grown man now. Look at him. He looks more mature than when I met him. Not even was about a year ago. Yeah,
and the boy looks like me more than I look like me.
Yeah, he does. That's really cute. That's nice. That's really nice. That is also. Is that linked on your website?
It's on my YouTube channel.
Okay,
perfect. YouTube.com/Ant Pruitt. And then lastly, there's a book out that just got released by the prolific author and photographer, Mr. Rick Salmon. I wanted to give him a plug. It's the Photo Pursuit, Stories Behind Photographs. It's a good insight into, you can tell someone how to grab shots for different scenes and compositions. But the why is also helpful, and the emotional part is really, really big too. And we talked about that on the previous episode of Hands-On Photography, where I was able to sit down with them. And we talked a lot about emotions in photography, because I know for me, about 95% of my photographs have something to do with a feeling that I had at the moment of clicking the shutter. And this book is just another reflection of that from Mr. Salmon.
Rick is amazing. You got to watch his interview on Hands-On Photography. It was this week's, right? Twit.tv/hop. Last week's?
Yeah, it was last week's. Yes, sir.
Okay. Really, really good. Twit.tv/hop. Yeah, I just think Rick is great. Really good get for that.
Such a nice human being.
He is.
You know what I mean?
Brilliant. Yeah. Just, wow. The stuff he does is really amazing. As with you, Mr. Ant Pruitt, Hands-On Photography, twit.tv/hop, @Ant_Pruitt, antpruitt.com, youtube.com/Ant Pruitt. Did I get them all?
That's it, sir.
All right. Thank you, Ant. And of course, that guy over there, the good-looking one.
Ant.
Me, not you. Me.
No, Jeff Jarvis, that guy. Director of the Townite Center for Entrepreneurial Journalism at the Graduate School of Journalism at the University of New York. Craig's going to really regret this.
We should practice this in 3-part harmony, really, actually.
Who's going to do the high part? We're all baritones or basso profundos. Stacey Higginbotham, she's at StaceyOnIoT.com. She's at GigaStacey. Don't forget the IoT podcast. Her newsletter is free from StaceyOnIoT.com. She also does great events there. You'll find out more at the events tab. Thank you, Stacey.
Thank y'all.
Go have some Cheez-Its. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
Go have some cacio e pepe.
No, that was last week. Tonight's frozen pizza night.
Right. He can't do it every week.
Frozen pizza is not better than cacio e
frozen
pepe.
pizza, yeah. Okay.
Go have some cacio.
It's a flat bread that's got a little bit of cheese. It's fine.
Okay. You listen to Mama. She knows what's right. She knows what's best. And Mr. Ant Pruitt, go have a nice glass of something brown.
No, I'm going to go to the Hardheads track.
Oh yeah, run out there. Get on out there. Don't miss
the
it.
End of it. They did send me a video of their 100 meters. I just posted it into our IRC.
Oh, that's what that was. Oh,
the senior got third in his heat for the 100, and the freshman got first in his heat.
You should.
I still need to work on them. That's the senior Dad. On the left of the frame.
Get out of there, Dad. Go, 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 go. Look at that. How fun.
He got third, but the freshman, he won his heat, and I need to work on the freshman. His gait is not quite where I want it to be. Even though he wins this,
he got first.
His gait's still not quite right. I can get some more speed out of him with,
Gonna unleash a bobcat?
Unleash the bobcat.
Well, there's that.
Be better.
Who let the bobcat out? Ant. Thank you, Ant. Thank you, Stacey. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you all for being here. We do This Week in Google on a Wednesday afternoon, about 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2100 UTC. If you want to watch us do it live, you can. You can. Go to twit.tv/live. That's the live feed. You can also chat with us if you're watching it live at irc.twit.tv. Members of the Club Twit can also go to our Discord channel where we stream it live. We have a stage. We didn't get any requests to speak. I think everybody was just saying, I'm not getting involved with that. No, I don't want to have anything to do with that. But you're always welcome to. We start a stage for every show, and you can chat with us or speak to us using Discord if you're a member of the club. You can also download podcasts. All of our shows are at twit.tv. This show's at twit.tv/twig. You see right there on that page a button to our YouTube channel. You can also get the videos there and a bunch of podcast players. If you subscribe in your favorite podcast player and say download it whenever it's available, you get it automatically, and that's kind of nice the minute the show comes out. If you are watching asynchronously like that, if you're downloading, don't forget we have wonderful forums at twit.community. Those are free. We have a Mastodon instance at twit.social, also free. And, of course, the IRC is free at irc.twit.tv. Thank you, everybody.
And happy Ed Balls Day.
On that note. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Hey, if you like tech news, but you also like hearing about it from the people who are actually writing the stories, well, I've got a show for you. It's called Tech News Weekly, and it's me, Jason Howell, along with my co-host, Micah Sargent. Every week, we invite the people making and breaking the biggest tech news stories from around the web onto this show to talk to us about it. It's a lot of fun. You should check it out. Tech News Weekly can be found at twit.tv/TNW every Thursday. We'll see you there.